the Chief Executive Officer of WeCare, Mr. Kamal Sharma. I request my team also to run this program live now to kindly deliver the welcome remarks. Kamal, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. From WeCare side, we would like to welcome all the participants, panelists for this session. We are into this today. We are going to have a Western region dialogue under our WeCare policy dialogue series. This is the third such dialogue under our endeavor. So we have planned to undertake these kind of series so that to give a platform to various stakeholders to deliberate, discuss the nuances as well as the opportunities that we have as a country on managing our plastic waste in a much better manner. Plus also we need to be sure, because the issue of plastic waste is such that all the stakeholders need to play their role. And that's where it is important to have a platform which would facilitate those discussions, inculcate right kind of understanding on the action that needs to be undertaken. We see a lot of news around the negative impacts of plastics. We are also now seeing that the plastics is now being detected in the human blood. I mean, this is a recent news. I'm sure you would have noticed it. But from where it is coming, what is the sources? And that's where we need to look at those kind of issues. The second important point is that plastics is one of the preferred packaging material across all the sectors. I mean, you can take any product in the market, it would have one or the other layers of plastics on it. So plastics is across industry now, and we have come a long way now. How to address this kind of thing, and what do we really mean by single use? Because if we just go by usage perspective, then everything is single use. But we have to look at the products or packaging which are just introduced into the market, and there is no one to take back. There is no one who could actually be held accountable for. That's where you would have seen the recent, the last year, Government of India brought out a list of items that needs to be phased out. So you would find that all those things can be easily done away with. You would find that there could be, alternate behavior mechanism that we need to inculcate for bringing citizen awareness and participation, so that they give up those single-use plastic items. So that's where we thought that Western India, being one of the industrialized states, hosting the industrialized states of the country, because anything we phase out has economic repercussions, especially the MSME sector, which is the backbone of any economy. So where do we want to take our country to? Do we want to just say phase out and let people suffer, or we go in a phased manner, in a very informed manner, and an approach which all the stakeholders can at least conform to. So with this kind of an endeavor, we thought let's have the thematic of our Western Region Conference to be focused on demystifying the single-use plastic. So again, not taking much time, I would like to welcome Honorable Mayor Sir for this inaugural session, and would like to welcome him for his guest of honor remarks.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. So now, Goa is one of the smallest states in India, but also we are one of the largest generators of single-use plastics. Now, it's because of the volume of tourists that we get in any given year. We have around, say, like more than 1 million tourists that come to our state. Now, the problem is, especially in a small place like Goa, you have a lot of panchayats, you have a lot of smaller urban local bodies that don't have the capability of handling all of this single-use waste. So a lot of it is generally just thrown on the roadside, and you do not have proper segregation. And a lot of the panchayats themselves refuse to basically collect it. Now, luckily in Panjim, we happen to be one of the most well-funded municipalities in all of Goa. So we are also part of the smart city mission that the Prime Minister had launched. So because of that, in terms of funding, we are basically able to more or less cater to our needs. For example, even in our place now, the size of Panjim is around, it's just 8 by 8 kilometers. Okay, it's a very small city. So that in itself also has a lot of limitations because of the small size. So we do not have access to dumping grounds. We do not have access to place our debris. So handling of our leaf waste and everything is also a big issue also. So now because of that, we have basically been forced to be self-sustainable in terms of everything. So we generate around, say, 27 tons of wet waste per day. We generate around 15 tons of dry waste, 6 tons of leaf litter. So now because of this, for example, now we are forced to build up a capacity in a way that no other place has, because they have access to dumping sites, they have access to other processing facilities and everything also. So that is one of the things that we're working towards. Now, Panjim basically has a policy of zero waste to landfill. So we want to be entirely self-sufficient when it comes to that and disposing of our waste scientifically. So we channelize a lot of our waste to recyclers, to aggregators, and a lot of our non-recyclable waste also heads to cement kilns, okay, where it's further processed. We cannot do it ourselves. Our biodegradable waste is composted generally close to site or on site. In addition to that, also.
Yeah. I think we lost your video, sir. He must have got a phone call.
Yeah.
We just lost him, but he'll join us. He's here. Sir, you can now join again. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, can you, I can't start the video again. Sorry, I got disconnected.
Yeah. Ejaz, can you make sir co-host immediately? Yeah, so now you can switch on.
Yeah. Okay, so basically now we try to deal with all of our wet waste on site. For example, we have a market complex. So most of the waste that we generate from our market complex is treated on site. So in addition to that, we've set up biodigesters also. So any excess wet waste, or if say you have an institute or somebody that's generally creating a lot of wet waste, that also is generally processed on site, and all of that is channelized into biogas to use for cooking. Okay, so now we were one of the first cities to also pay citizens to bring in their waste. So, for example, now we have these decentralized segregation centers that we have all over the city. Now, what we do is basically we've set up a rate card, and we basically encouraged people to bring in a lot of their waste in exchange for. So, we will basically pay them to take in their waste. So, that has actually generated a lot of interest from the community itself, and a lot of people have, like, for example, now we've gone from collecting when we started the thing, collecting maybe 110 kgs a day to basically a ton within a span of like a couple of weeks. So now we want to expand on programs like this to basically show people that, like your waste does have value. You don't have to throw it aside. You can actually use it for something. So in addition to that also, we were also acknowledged by Niti Aayog in their handbook Wastewise for some of the best practices in India. So this includes 16-way segregation that we started in the colonies also. So now our aim now, because we do not have access to landfills, we have to treat a lot of our waste at source. Now colonies also, like housing colonies, are some of the biggest generators of waste. So we are trying to get them involved and basically ask them to segregate their waste as source. So it becomes easier for us to process also. And the waste generally has a lot more value. So in addition to that, also we've also tied up with local supermarkets. So people can basically take their waste to a local supermarket, and they can also basically buy like vegetables or whatever they want with that thing. That again is another way of showing people that their waste does have value and you don't have to throw it out. So those are some of the initiatives that we started. We still have a way to go, but we're working towards getting there. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
No problem.
Come on.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And it's really encouraging to note that you are engaging with all stakeholders, and you have also very well mentioned that the plastics is a really good type of material as far as the recycling is concerned. But the only thing is, if it doesn't get soiled and its value is maintained. So definitely, this is where I think most of the efforts needs to focus on, to include citizen participation, to have the accountability, whether it's in the type of in the form of citizen paying fee for waste collection, so that they understand that this is something that they need to keep it in a certain way and then dispose it off. So
That's true.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us from your busy schedule. I understand that you are somewhere already in the meeting and you joined us from there. And then we want to see you as a young leader rising in this country, sir. And
sure, sir.
let us show the right path to the country towards development.
And if you want to please also.
Right, sir. We will be in touch with you, sir. Thank you.
Done. Thank you. Bye.
Moving forward, we have a very special guest today. Honorable Minister sir will be joining us at exactly 10 o'clock. But just before that, let us hear from a global organization, World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum, we all know, is known for its global thought leadership and wonderful, developmental agenda that they bring. We have the director of Global Plastic Action Partnership, also member of the executive committee of the World Economic Forum, Ms. Christine Hughes. Ms. Christine has shared a video message with us. So we will hear from her what she has to say towards the single-use plastic.
Distinguished panelists and guests, thank you for inviting me to join you for this panel discussion today via Zoom. It's a real pleasure to be here and to talk to you about the Global Plastic Action Partnership, our experiences and our approach to circular plastics. I understand that plastic waste management and single-use plastics in India is the topic of this conference, and I'm actually very keen to learn more about the conversations you all are having in the room. We soon will be launching a partnership with the state of Maharashtra, and we'll be working closely with the government to develop an action roadmap that will help the state in addressing plastic waste and pollution. And therefore, I'm sure that many of the insights that come from the conference over the next couple of days will certainly be helpful in that topic. The Global Plastic Action Partnership is a multi-stakeholder platform focused on eradicating plastic waste and pollution, driving a circular economy, and supporting social inclusion. I'm honored to be talking to you about the Global Plastic Action Partnership today. We aim to shape a more sustainable and inclusive world through the eradication of plastic pollution. Through multi-stakeholder platforms, we bring public, private, and civil society leaders together, along with academics, to develop joint solutions on the plastic crisis. We work in three main areas: convening communities, curating conversations, generating new insights, and developing action roadmaps that catalyze strategic engagement. After running analysis at the national and sometimes subnational level, we aim to support governments with the development of action roadmaps. I can speak to you all at length about our roadmaps, but I want to focus my attention today on two particularly very relevant areas to the discussions you're already having: behavior change and inclusivity, especially when working with the public to achieve a circular economy and zero plastic waste pollution. There is no silver bullet to solve the problem of plastic waste. Collective action is required. A combination of pre-consumer upstream actions such as material redesign, plastic reduction and substitution, midstream actions such as behavioral change, and post-consumer downstream solutions such as recycling and responsible disposal are all urgently needed to address plastic leakage. We know that the current approaches to promote a circular economy for plastics focus primarily on closing the loop for a very limited range of plastic materials, primarily PET, for food contact packaging. I would implore those of you at the conference to consider, what else can we do? How can we step up efforts for other packaging materials and other formats? Is there a way to broaden the scope beyond specific materials towards new delivery models, notably around scaling up reuse rather than recycling in the first place? What might your thoughts be on how to bring other plastics beyond PET back into the value chain? Multiple interventions need to be implemented in a coordinated manner with strong collaboration between all stakeholders. This should promote equal opportunities to ensure the needs and the positive effects on both women and men, particularly those from marginalized and disproportionately affected communities, are considered. Extended producer responsibility schemes and government policies must be inclusive and intentionally support informal sector workers. They must be designed to include diverse demographics and prioritize marginalized communities. Messaging aimed to promote actions that reduce plastic pollution should be tailored to meet the unique communication needs of women, both as consumers and household managers, but also those roles in the informal sector.
Akram, I'm unable to hear. Akram, is there any issue? Akram, is there any issue? I'm unable to hear the voice.
Oh, sorry.
Plastic
Can you hear
waste
now?
collection has become a
Yeah.
default source of income among many marginalized groups.
Last 1 minute, if you can just rewind,
So much
we were not
positive
able to.
engagement throughout the full community.
Yeah.
We
Come
know that
on,
hosting
Gillian.
targeted innovation challenges, assisting with connecting groups, and introducing them to policymakers, business leaders, and investors, featuring community-based solutions and media channels can really have a very positive impact. Historically, resources investing in supporting these solutions have generated a good return for policymakers and other stakeholders. Plastic waste collection has become a default source of income among many marginalized groups, such as women and the elderly. A critical aim of the Global Plastic Action Partnerships Roadmap is to ensure that informal sector workers and those who form such an integral part of the roadmap's implementation are supported through specific behavioral change and gender mainstreaming. They are vital to addressing the challenges faced by women, youth, and other marginalized groups. Waste collectors, particularly those in the informal sector, should be prioritized, and they should be sought out to bring on skills training and technological innovation. With the appropriate training, these workers can become data collectors, recording information on the types of plastics and the locations where the plastics are coming from. They can also be given opportunities to learn new skills, such as basic bookkeeping and how to boost income by selecting plastic more strategically. Plastic pollution is truly an issue in which every segment of society needs to step up and play its part, from governments with appropriate policies and regulatory frameworks to companies who can look to deepen their circularity within their supply chains, and consumers who make choices every single day and can help shift the mindset of others. We, all of us, have a role to play, And I appreciate knowing you are all here today to discuss the role you can play as part of the circular economy and the broader ecosystem to help shift us away from the current linear approach to plastic usage. Now is the time to turn our attention towards this problem and turn bold commitments into long-lasting and positively impacting action. Thank you again for having me today, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Kamal, any comment on Christian's message?
Yeah. So I think this was a very Christian emphasized on two important points, is that the timing that the whole world is looking at in terms of our actions on plastics and the role of various stakeholders. Specifically, we have to have initiatives which do take care of the marginalized communities, because many times those are the people who are involved in collection of plastic waste. So it is important for all of us to look at the issue of plastics in a holistic manner, and that's what the messaging from Christian was. We also look forward to the initiative that WEF has interested in taking up with Maharashtra government, and it would be really important to see the the mechanics of those projects, because we think that all the stakeholders needs to be duly involved as well as heard, looking at the challenge that we have. So I think this is what my understanding is, and I'm sure all the attendees on this dialogue series would have been enjoying the messaging from these dignitaries. So now I think, Akram, how are we placed? Honorable Minister Sir is joining.
Yeah, Honorable Minister Sir is joining soon.
Okay.
Shamila ma'am is already here, so I thought let me quickly invite our Honorable Member Secretary of Goa State Pollution Control Board. Ma'am, if you can accept our request and join as a panelist.
Yeah, she has joined.
Yeah, Shamila ma'am, if you can unmute yourself. So ma'am, from her busy schedule, also a women leader into the plastic waste management. I was always excited to have her. Shamila ma'am, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, you are also.
Yes.
You can switch on the
You
camera.
can hear
also.
me? You can hear me?
We can hear you, ma'am. Please switch on your camera, ma'am. We can see you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So actually, I would not be there for a long time because I've got another meeting. But yes, I will be with you all till around say 11 o'clock or so, if that's okay.
Right. So we can hear you now, ma'am. So can we invite you to share your views?
Yes. Okay. So a very good morning to all of you, the dignitaries, fellow speakers, organizers, officials of various government organizations, industry personnel, waste handlers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm indeed honored to be here present at this August event and share my experience and how we deal with the single-use plastic. I'm extremely thankful to Mr. Akram Haq, founder editor of the Policy Times, for having invited me and organizing this conference. It's so relevant and the timing also is so much apt here now because the whole world is so worried about the plastic pollution which we see all around us. And we know that this the whole government of India is also committed, and it is part of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change has already notified the plastic waste rule, and they have directed. You can't hear? Can you hear?
We can hear you. Yeah, ma'am, very clearly.
Okay. Yes. So, and they have directed the states to implement the same. At first, we must understand why we need to ban the single-use plastic. I know all of us must be thinking that, it's so convenient. Single-use plastic is so convenient. I mean, even for parties and, when we go for picnics and all, you just take this cutlery and, this disposable plates so that you don't have to wash it. You just consume, you have your food, you throw it out, but we do not really see how much detrimental effect it has on the environment. So it has never occurred to us that earlier that this kind of waste would be so harmful to the environment. And now we see that our ocean beds, rivers, backwaters, even the mangroves for that matter, are covered with plastic waste. In fact, even fishermen for that matter, they find it so difficult to fish. Sometimes they come back home with only plastic. Instead of catching fish, they come with plastic.
Ma'am, so
Yes.
I'm really sorry to request you. But we have Honorable Minister Shri Kaushal sir joining us. हमारे सर अभी सीधा ऑनलाइन जुड़े हैं. सर अभी कैमरा में हैं. कौशल सर को, सर आप सुन पा रहे हैं हमें सर?
हाँ सुन.
जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर हमारे इस प्रोग्राम में आज जुड़ने के लिए सर. हम बहुत आभारी हैं आपके, इतने बिजी और शेड्यूल से आपने थोड़ा सा समय निकाला हमारे लिए. थोड़ा मिनिस्टर सर को मैं परिचय करा दूं, हमारे जो दर्शक आज हमारे साथ हैं. सर हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश भारत के बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट राज्य से बिलोंग करते हैं और बचपन से अपने छोटे से स्कूल से जब तक सर जाते थे, सर बहुत ब्रेव और सोशल जस्टिस के लिए जाना जाते थे. तो किसी भी अगर मुद्दा हो जहाँ पे जस्टिस की बात हो तो सर फ्रंट पे आके हमेशा ये उसमें आ जाते थे, आर्गुमेंट में आ जाते थे. तो अक्सर सर के पेरेंट्स थोड़ा डरते थे कि मेरे बेटे कोई भी अगर कहीं भी सोशल इनजस्टिस हो वहां आके आप जाके खड़ा हो जाएंगे, गरीबों के लिए उनके सामने आना शुरू करेंगे. अभी सर हमारे बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट पोर्टफोलियो में है, ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट हैं, अर्बन डेवलपमेंट मिनिस्टर ऑफ अर्बन अफेयर्स एंड हाउसिंग के. और अभी सर सरकार की जो नीति आया है सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को लेके, ये एक बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है सर. ग्लोबली प्लास्टिक वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट को बहुत सीरियसली लिया जाता है. हमारे आज के सरकार ने एक बहुत अच्छा कदम लिया है कि इस साल से जो सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक है उसको बंद किया जाए, बैन किया जाए. और ये कदम बहुत अच्छा है और इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से वी केयर और पॉलिसी टाइम्स हम लोगों ने ये एक ठान लिया है कि पूरे देश में हर राज्य में जाके इसके हम प्रमोशन कर रहे हैं कि किस तरह से आप लोग, माने आम आदमी से लेके इंडस्ट्री से लेके हर स्टेक होल्डर, स्कूल कॉलेजेस, उनको हम सब जानकारी दे रहे हैं कि किस तरह से सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक यूज करने से नुकसान होती है और उसका यूज करना कैसे बंद करें और उसके ऑल्टरनेटिव हमारे सामने क्या है उसको प्रमोट करें. तो इसके बारे में सर आपके आशीर्वाद और इनॉग्रल एड्रेस के लिए मैं रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं सर. हमारे साथ कमल जी.
सम्मानित अतिथि हमारे साथ जो जुड़े हैं, माननीय महापौर पणजी गोवा निगम से रोहित मोंसेरेट जी, सुश्री क्रिस्टियन ह्यूजेंस निदेशक ग्लोबल प्लास्टिक एक्शन पार्टनरशिप, माननीय अतिथिगण डॉक्टर शर्मिला मेंटोरो गोवा राज्य प्रदूषण नियंत्रण बोर्ड की सदस्य हैं, सचिव हैं, श्री नंद कुमार नामदेव गौरव जी जो क्षेत्रीय अधिकारी तकनीकी मुख्यालय महाराष्ट्र प्रदूषण नियंत्रण बोर्ड यूएलबी के हैं, डॉक्टर संगीता हसनले जी उपनगर आयुक्त SWM ब्रह्मन मुंबई नगर निगम, श्री राजेश भगत जी उपायुक्त SWM नागपुर नगर निगम, श्री हर्षद राय जे सोलंकी जी निदेशक अहमदाबाद नगर निगम, श्री आशीष जैन निदेशक भारतीय प्रदूषण नियंत्रण संघ, श्री मैथ्यू जोन्स जी संस्थापक और CEO पेपरमैन, श्री अनुराग तिवारी जी रिकॉर्ड प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के सह संपादक लिमिटेड, डॉक्टर M अब्दुल कादिर जी प्रधान निदेशक और प्रमुख सीपेट IPT अहमदाबाद, प्रोफेसर परमिता डे जी, प्रमुख संसाधन और अपशिष्ट राष्ट्रीय शहरी मामलों के संस्थान के हैं। सुश्री नताशा जरीन जी एकोत्सव पर्यावरण समाधान में से संस्थापक और प्रबंध निदेशक हैं। श्री अमरेंद्र कुमार जी पूर्णकालिक निदेशक राम की ARM। श्री पारस गुप्ता जी निदेशक EPR एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी जेम इन्वायरो GNT से हैं। श्री राकेश मिश्रा जी प्रमुख मिश्रा ट्रेडर्स CEO ANO देखभाल समाधान। श्री देवार्थ बनर्जी जी सह संस्थापक और निदेशक संपूर्ण तो संचालन कर रहे हैं। कमल शर्मा जी CEO WeCare और श्री अकरम हक संस्थापक संपादक द पॉलिसी टाइम्स। यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी मेरे साथी वक्तागण, WeCare और द पॉलिसी टाइम्स के समस्त आयोजकगण, आज सबको मैं प्रातः इस कार्यक्रम में शामिल होने के लिए उद्योग जगत के सभी जो भागीदार इसमें शामिल हो रहे हैं उन सबको को प्रणाम करता हूं। ये जो प्लास्टिक का को खत्म करने का, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को पूरी तरीके से खत्म करने का एक जो प्रासंगिक सम्मेलन का आयोजन में आप सब लोग शामिल हैं, इसके लिए मैं आपको बधाई देता हूं और धन्यवाद देता हूं। भारत संयुक्त राष्ट्र के SDG के प्राप्त करने की दिशा में वैश्विक विकास की नीति का केंद्र धीरे धीरे बनता जा रहा है और स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के माध्यम से जो अपने राज्य हैं, जो संघ राज्य हैं, जो केंद्र से शासित हैं, ऐसे में वहां पर जो कचरा है उसका अपशिष्ट का प्रबंधन का बुनियादी ढांचे को मजबूत करने का हमारा लक्ष्य है और इसको पूरा करने का पूरा प्रयास लगातार किया जा रहा है। सरकार ने प्लास्टिक कचरा प्रबंधन को कम करने के लिए इसके लिए व्यापक पहल की है और जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पहले SBM2 स्वच्छ भारत मिशन 10 को शुरू किया। शहरी मिशन का जो उद्देश्य था ये कि वैधानिक शहरों में, मतलब जो भी हमारे शहर हैं उनमें खुले में शौच समाप्त करना और नगर निगम या जो नगर पंचायतें हैं, नगर महापालिकाएं हैं, जो छोटे छोटे शहर हैं, वो जो ठोस कचरा है उसको 100% वैज्ञानिक रूप से प्रबंधन करना और लोगों को जागरूक करके कचरा मुक्त शहर बनाना, ये हमारा लक्ष्य तय हुआ और इसके लिए हमारा डिपार्टमेंट भी, हमारी सरकार उस पर पूरी तरीके से मानी। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के निर्देशों का, उनके जो सपनों का भारत है उसको बनाने का प्रयास किया जाए। इसके लिए एक स्वच्छता ऐप भी जारी किया गया। इस ऐप के माध्यम से नागरिकों की जो सक्रिय भागीदारी होनी चाहिए, उस सक्रिय भागीदारी को ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को बताने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है ऐप के माध्यम से और अब तक लगभग 2 करोड़ से अधिक नागरिकों की जो शिकायतें आई हैं उनका समाधान भी स्वच्छता ऐप के माध्यम से किया जा चुका है। पूरी तरीके से ट्रांसपेरेंसी रखते हुए ऐप 2.0 जो बनाया गया है उसको का एक संशोधित संस्करण भी हमारे बीच में लॉन्च किया गया है, सिर्फ इसलिए कि जो है हम स्वच्छ भारत बना सकें। और इसके लिए जो है प्रधानमंत्री जी ने विगत 1 अक्टूबर 2021 को जब अमृत 2.0 लॉन्च किया तो साथ में SBM 2.0 को भी लॉन्च करने का काम किया और उस तरह SBM 2.0 को लॉन्च करने के साथ पूरे देश के जैसे कि मान लिया कि 100 स्मार्ट सिटी चुने गए। पहले 500 शहरों को SBM 10 में 500 शहरों को चुना गया था SBM 10 के तहत, स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के तहत। लेकिन SBM 2.0 जो लॉन्च किया प्रधानमंत्री जी ने तो उसमें करीब 4700 शहरों को चुना गया है और उनको गार्बेज फ्री बनाने का एक टारगेट तय किया गया। कचरा मुक्त बनाना है और कचरा मुक्त बनाने के लिए जो भी कचरा निकलता है उसको घरों में लोग इकट्ठा करें और एजेंसी के लोग जाएंगे, दरवाजे को खटखटाएंगे, कचरा उठाएंगे, अपनी गाड़ी में डालेंगे और ले जाकर के उसको बाहर ले जाकर के उसको अपशिष्ट का जो प्रबंधन है वहां पर ले जाकर के फिर से उसको प्लास्टिक को अलग करेंगे, बाकी का जो गीला कचरा है उसको अलग करेंगे और उस गीले कचरे से को परिवर्तित करना, जो प्लास्टिक वगैरह है इसके नए उत्पाद बनाना या उसको फिर से रिसाइकलिंग करना, इस तरह का लक्ष्य बनाया गया और इस पर काम भी बड़ी तेजी से शुरू करने का काम किया गया। जो इंडिया प्लास्टिक चैलेंज है हमारे लिए, हैकाथॉन 2021 जो है इंडिया प्लास्टिक चैलेंज का, तो इसमें छात्रों को, नौजवानों को, बच्चों को भी, और ये अगर बात हम सीनियर सिटीजन के दिमाग में पूरी तरीके से बैठा ले जाएं तो वो बच्चों को, युवाओं को, अपने परिवार के लोगों को वो जितना बोल्डली कह सकते हैं उसका अनुपालन और ज्यादा तेजी से होगा। अगर इसको प्रैक्टिकल में देखें तो ज्यादा होगा। अगर सीनियर सिटीजन घर में है, माँ बाप हैं, दादा दादी हैं, और वो अगर बच्चों से कहेंगे ये गलत बात है, ये कचरा ऐसे होना चाहिए, इसको गलत ना डालो, डस्टबिन में डालो, ऐसा करो, तो वो बच्चे एक संस्कार सीखेंगे और एक जिम्मेदारी सीखेंगे और निश्चित तरीके से हम कचरा मतलब स्वच्छ भारत मिशन में हमारा एक बड़ा कदम होगा, उसमें हमको इससे फायदा भी मिलने का काम होगा। पुनर्चक्रण की कार्रवाई जिस पे अभी मैं बता रहा था कि जो भी अपशिष्ट है, जो भी ये कचरा है, इसके पुनर्चक्रण को हमको आगे इसको संचालित करने का काम करना है, लगातार इसको करते रहना, क्योंकि अपशिष्ट लगातार बनता रहता है, इकट्ठा होता रहता है, और अगर उसका पुनर्चक्रण हम नहीं करेंगे तो इसका इतना ढेर इकट्ठा हो जाएगा कि जो है हमारा देश ही कचरा का देश बन जाएगा। तो हमें कचरा मुक्त देश बनाना है, और जब हम शहर को कचरा मुक्त बना ले जाएंगे तो ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में भी आप देख रहे होंगे, हमको ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों से ज्यादा चीजें सीखनी है। ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में घर का जो कूड़ा कचरा होता है वो गांव के बाहर जाकर के घूर और गड्ढे के रूप में पहले से होते हैं, वहां पर जाकर के डालने का काम करते हैं, घर में नहीं रखते हैं। वो घर से सफाई करेंगे डलिया में लेकर के, और उसको ले जाकर के घर की महिलाएं भी या आदमी भी गोबर तक के ले जाकर के और घूर के गड्ढे होते हैं उसमें जाकर के डालते हैं और उसको खाद के रूप में परिवर्तित करने का काम भी करते हैं। तो शहर को कचरा मुक्त बनाने के लिए इसी तरीके से जो अपशिष्ट के प्रबंधन है उनको हमें और तेजी से आगे बढ़ाना होगा कि ये कचरा जो है हमारा फिर से पुनर्चक्रण, यानी फिर से इसको हम रिसाइकलिंग करेंगे। प्लास्टिक को निकाल करके उसको जो है सिंगल उत्पाद की चीजें हम बनाए ही ना, इस पे ज्यादा जोर देना कि सिंगल ऐसे उत्पाद ना बनाए जो सिंगल प्लास्टिक बने ही ना, तो उसका यूज कैसे होगा। तो सिंगल प्लास्टिक को पूरी तरीके से इस साल हमको हर कीमत पे खत्म करने का काम करना है। इसके लिए लोगों के अंदर जागरूकता करना, तो जागरूकता का जो है केवल हम कैंप लगा करके ही नहीं कर सकते। कैंप में आते हैं लोग, सुनते हैं और चले जाते हैं। अब इस समय जो हमको सोशल मीडिया है उसका ज्यादा यूज करना है। उसके लिए फेसबुक पर रोज एक बार बोलना, सभी लोगों को डालना, मैसेंजर पर या ट्विटर पे ट्वीट करना, व्हाट्सएप पे लिखना, जितने भी हम आईटी के जितने भी अलग अलग हमको सिस्टम दिए गए हैं उस सारे सिस्टम का यूज हमको करना चाहिए और सबको जिम्मेदारी से करना चाहिए। मैं समझ रहा हूँ किसी भी छोटे पद से लेकर के बड़े पद तक है, उसको अपनी ये जिम्मेदारी निभानी चाहिए और लोगों को बोलना चाहिए कि आप भी करो और अपडेट करो, आज किया कि नहीं किया, एक बार पूछ लेने की जरूरत है। ऐसे अगर रोज हम करते रहेंगे और जहां जहां इस तरीके का अभियान चले भी वहां पर भी उसको हम कितना प्रचार प्रसार कर सकते हैं, एक मैसेज जाना चाहिए। देखते नहीं कि 2 अक्टूबर 2014 को प्रधानमंत्री जी ने स्वच्छ भारत मिशन, स्वच्छ भारत बनाने के लिए और गांधी जी की जयंती के अवसर पर उन्होंने बोला था कि हम 2 अक्टूबर को झाड़ू लेकर निकलेंगे स्वच्छ भारत बनाने के लिए, और जब प्रधानमंत्री निकल पूरे देश में सफाई अभियान बन गया और सभी लोग बड़े पैमाने सफाई करने लगे। मैं जानता हूँ, मैं तो लखनऊ का रहने वाला हूँ। लखनऊ में मैंने देखा कि कचहरी में, तहसीलों में जो लोग वहां पर कोने में दीवारों पर थूकते थे, वो कौन लोग थे? सब पढ़े लिखे लोग। गांव से आया हुआ आदमी जो शहर में आता था, कचरे की उसमें आता था, तहसील में, दफ्तर में, गांव का कोई भी आदमी की हिम्मत नहीं थी कि दीवार में थूक देता, कोने में थूक देता, हिम्मत नहीं है उसकी। ये सब पढ़े लिखे लोग गंदगी फैलाने का काम करते थे, पीकदार में नहीं थूकते थे, दीवार के कोने में थूक देते थे। और जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये स्वच्छता अभियान शुरू किया और झाड़ू अपने हाथ में लिया, तो सभी लोग फैशन में ही सही, लेकिन उन्होंने अभियान शुरू किया। धीरे धीरे आज चले जाइए तो सरकारी दफ्तरों में दीवारों पर थूका हुआ नहीं मिलेगा, कोने पर थूका हुआ नहीं मिलेगा। मैं अब जाता हूँ, देखता हूँ, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कहीं पर। तो ये एक इनिशिएटिव लेने की जरूरत है। इसलिए जो बड़े पदों पर हैं, मानिए जो उद्योग जगत के लोग हैं, उनके मालिक हैं, सीईओ हैं, या उनके डायरेक्टर हैं, या बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर मेंबर हैं, तो वो जो लोग भी हैं, वो लोग अगर खुद सफाई अभियान में हिस्सेदारी लेंगे और खुद शुरू करेंगे, तो सारे लोग एकजुट हो जाने का काम करेंगे निश्चित तरीके से, और उनको अपनी जिम्मेदारी निभाने का काम करेंगे। तो मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है कि ये एक जागरूकता तभी फैलेगी जब हम खुद जागरूक होंगे, और हमको उसमें जो है पार्टिसिपेट करना है। स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के तहत हमको खुद पार्टिसिपेट करना है, और खुद हम कितना काम किए स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के तहत, हम कितना काम कर पाए, इसके लिए हमको निश्चित तरीके से काम करना होगा। इसलिए सार्वजनिक निजी भागीदारी जो है, उसमें जो है लगातार हमको लोगों को बढ़ाना है और लोगों को जोड़ने का काम करना है। इसलिए के लिए ये जरूरी नहीं है कि हम प्रदर्शन करें या उस तरह करें। आप देखें, प्रदर्शन करने से, सेमिनार करने से, ये करने से एक जागरूकता तो आती है, लेकिन इसका थोड़ा रूप बदलना पड़ेगा। और रूप बदलना पड़ेगा ठीक उसी तरीके से कि इसको समझना है कि जैसे नशा जो है हमारे यहाँ बिक रहा है, तो नशा बिक तो रहा है, नशे का एक अलग भी दफ्तर है जो मद्य निषेध का काम करता है, और मद्य निषेध में लोगों को नशा छुड़ाने का हर संभव प्रयास किया जाता है, लेकिन नशे के कस्टमर लगातार बढ़ते जाते हैं और नशा करने वालों की संख्या लगातार बढ़ती जाती है। मद्य निषेध हमारा फेल है, उस पर सेमिनार भी होते हैं, उस पर बैठकें भी होती हैं। हमको रोकना होगा कि नशे के कस्टमर बढ़ कैसे रहे। तो नशे के कस्टमर रोकने के लिए हमें नई पीढ़ी के लोगों को जो नशा नहीं करते हैं, उनको नशे की दुनिया में नहीं जाने देना है, और उनको नशे में की दुनिया में न जाने देने से रोकने के लिए उनको हमें संकल्प कराना होगा। तो फिर जब वो नशे की दुनिया में नहीं जाएंगे, तो नशे के कस्टमर अपने आप घटते जाएंगे और दुकानें बंद होते चली जाएंगी। नाले में कीचड़ बह रहा है, अगर स्वच्छ पानी भी उस कीचड़ में शामिल होता जाएगा तो नाला कभी सूखेगा नहीं, वो नाला गंदा ही बना रहेगा। उसी तरीके से जो है स्वच्छता है, अगर स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के तहत अगर हम खुद ये काम नहीं करेंगे कि गंदगी को रोकें, कचरे को हम बाहर ना फेंकें, कचरे को हम एक सिस्टम के तहत उसमें शामिल हो, और हम अपनी जिम्मेदारी ये निभाएं कि कचरा हमारे द्वारा नहीं होना चाहिए, तो ये जिम्मेदारी जब हम खुद निभाने का काम करेंगे तो निश्चित तरीके से ये काम चलेगा, आगे चलेगा, और ये तेजी से आगे फैलेगा, तेजी से आगे बढ़ेगा। और इसलिए लोगों के अंदर जागरूकता केवल बताने से नहीं होगी, उसको प्रैक्टिकल में उतारने का काम लोगों को करना पड़ेगा, तब हमको सफल सफलता हमको मिल पाएगी। और इसके लिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जो हमारा ढांचा है, जैसे सर्वेक्षण, स्वच्छ सर्वेक्षण भी है कि एक बार जो है जो अधिकारी बैठे, अरे इस तरह जो अधिकारी बैठे हैं वो अधिकारी वो जिम्मेदारी, मान लिया दफ्तर में काम करते हैं या उद्योगपति हैं, अपनी फैक्ट्रियों में अपनी जो उद्योग धंधे खोले, एक बार निगरानी कर लें और हफ्ते में एक बार चक्कर लगा लिए कि देख लें कहीं कोई सफाई। देखते नहीं कि जब कभी जो है, कभी कोई मिनिस्टर नगर निगम में या कोई अधिकारी उसका दौरा करता है तो फिर उस रोड पे चूना पड़ जाता है, उसकी सफाई हो जाती है, चूना भी पड़ जाता है। लेकिन जब वो नहीं जाते हैं तब क्या चूना पड़ता है क्या? तब सफाई होती है क्या? ये लगातार ये चीजें होनी चाहिए, इसलिए निगरानी होना जरूरी है। और निगरानी अगर करते रहेंगे तो जो काम नहीं करना चाहते वो भी मजबूरी में करेंगे, और जब मजबूरी में करेंगे तो धीरे धीरे वो काम करने की आदत पड़ जाएगी। हमको आदत लोगों की बनाना है, आदत बिगड़ी हुई है, तो उस आदत को बनाने के लिए हमें काम करना है। इसलिए निगरानी भी जरूरी है और इसके लिए जो है हमको ध्यान में भी रखना जरूरी है। इन चीजों को करके हम कर सकते हैं। मेरा एक जो है कहना है कि इसमें अभी स्वच्छ सर्वेक्षण में जो ऑन ग्राउंड चुनौती हुई थी, एक पारदर्शी सर्वेक्षण 2021 में एक रिकॉर्ड समय पर किया गया था। इन वर्षों में सर्वेक्षण 70 मिलियन से अधिक नागरिकों की संयुक्त प्रतिक्रिया मिली, जिसमें राज्य और शहर के अधिकारियों की निरंतर क्षमता बढ़ती गई और 10 उसमें काफी लोग जुड़ते चले गए। नगर पालिका अधिकारियों और कर्मचारियों को विभिन्न मिशन घटकों में इसमें प्रशिक्षित भी किया जाना चाहिए, किया भी गया है। आगे भी उनको ये जिम्मेदारी ज्यादा बांटने की जरूरत है। प्रशिक्षण का मतलब जिम्मेदारी, वो करेगा। कोई व्यक्ति ट्रेनिंग लेकर के आता है और अगर प्रैक्टिकल में नहीं करेगा तो भूल जाएगा। एक अच्छी गाड़ी जो है कि नई गाड़ी लेकर के आई है और वो अगर चलाई नहीं जाएगी तो साल भर के अंदर उसके इंस्ट्रूमेंट बेकार हो जाएंगे, वो गाड़ी खुद चलने योग्य रहेगी कि नहीं रहेगी, एक उसके उस पर जो है ये चीजें खड़ी हो जाती हैं। तो इसलिए इसको ध्यान में रखना है हमको। दिल्ली में सरकार में 3 अलग अलग जो उसके नगर निगम बनाए गए थे, उसमें बैग है, कटलरी है, फिल्म है, बैनर है, रैप है, जैसे ये एकल उपयोग वाले प्लास्टिक को चरणबद्ध करने की योजना बनाई और इसको धीरे धीरे इसकी शुरुआत थर्मोकोल और गुब्बारे, झंडे और कैडी के इस्तेमाल की जाने वाली प्लास्टिक की छड़ियों से होगी और इसको धीरे धीरे हमको खत्म करना है। एकल प्लास्टिक को पूरी तरीके से हमको खत्म करना है, ये ध्यान में रख करके हमको आगे बढ़ने का काम करना है। हमको ऐसा एक मॉडल बना करके तैयार करना है कि जिससे लोग उससे सीख लें। जैसे इंदौर है, वह देश में इंदौर हमेशा नंबर 1 पे आता है, 5 स्टार पे आता है इंदौर। हम अभी 3 स्टार पे पूरे देश को नहीं बना पाए। पूरे देश के शहरों को हम प्रथम चरण में 3 स्टार पे ले जाएं और 3 स्टार से उसको जो है हम 5 स्टार पर ले जाने का कैसे करेंगे, इसके लिए हमको काम करना, एक मॉडल के रूप में हम जरूर विकसित करने का काम करें, ये हमको ध्यान में रखना है। हमारा देश पूरी दुनिया में सफाई में, कचरा मुक्त में, स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के तहत हमको सब लोगों को देश को बनाना। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा मेक इन इंडिया। मेक इन इंडिया का नारा प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी जब आए 2014 में तब दिया, जबकि ये नारा जो है देश की आजादी के तुरंत बाद 1947 में मेक इन इंडिया का नारा होना चाहिए था। तो उस समय मेक इन इंडिया का नारा दिया जाता, भारत को बनाने का नारा दिया जाता, तब तक भारत बन गया होता। उदाहरण के तौर पे अगर हम कहें तो 1945 में हिरोशिमा नागासाकी 2 शहर जापान के, जहां पर एटॉमिक बम डाले गए थे, ध्वस्त हुआ था वो जापान। और ध्वस्त हुआ वो जापान, वहां की सरकार, वहां की ब्यूरोक्रेसी यानी प्रशासन, वहां की जनता और मीडिया, सबका एक ही नारा मेक इन जापान, और जापान को बना के खड़ा किया। हमसे आजादी के 2 साल पहले ध्वस्त हुआ जापान आज दुनिया में टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में नंबर 1 पे है। हमसे 2 साल बाद चीन आजाद हुआ 1949 में, मेक इन चाइना का नारा दिया। सारे लोग, मीडिया के लोग, कर्मचारी, अधिकारी, जनता, सरकार, एक ही सबका मकसद राष्ट्रवाद, मेक इन चाइना। चाइना को बनाने के लिए आज ये कर दिया कि हमारा देश चाइना का मार्केट बनकर के रह गया। सारा सामान हमको इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है। यहाँ तक कि होली और दीपावली त्योहारों में जो जरूरत की चीजें हैं, राखी तक के हमको वहां से बन करके आती है, हमको खरीदनी पड़ रही है। हम मेक इन इंडिया नहीं बना पाए, आत्मनिर्भर भारत नहीं बना पाए। अगर ये 1947 में बताया गया होता, दिया गया होता नारा, तो आज जो है हम सामान इंपोर्ट नहीं करते, हम अपने देश का सामान एक्सपोर्ट करते। इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा वोकल फॉर लोकल, स्थानीय चीजों का जो उत्पादन करेंगे उसके लिए हम प्रचार प्रसार करें, यूज करें, और फिर वो लोकल फॉर ग्लोबल बने, यानी हमारी स्थानीय चीजें हमारी पूरी दुनिया में जाकर के बिकें। इसके लिए हमको काम करना है। ये राष्ट्रवाद, आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाना है। और इसके लिए केवल ये नहीं कि हम जो है केवल सब चीजों पे काम करेंगे, तो स्वच्छता मिशन पे भी हमको जागरूक रखना है। हर क्षेत्र में हम इसको जब करेंगे तो बीमारी भी हमें कम होगी, हमारा देश स्वच्छ बनेगा तो निश्चित तरीके से स्वस्थ देश बनेगा। तो स्वस्थ देश बनाने के लिए भी हमको काम करना है। इसलिए जो भी परियोजना प्रबंधन की इकाइयां हैं उनको पूरी तरीके से जिम्मेदारी के साथ अपने लिए काम नहीं करना है, देश के लिए काम करना है। और जब देश के लिए काम करेंगे तो अपने लिए अपने आप काम हो जाएगा। कुछ लोग अपने लिए मात्र काम करते हैं और जो लोग अपने के लिए काम करते हैं वो इस तरह का नहीं हो पाता। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि नहीं, हिंदुस्तान के जो अंतिम व्यक्ति के पास भी अपना उसका निजी आवास होना चाहिए, उसमें बिजली होनी चाहिए जो चलती हो, 24 घंटे बल्ब होना चाहिए, उसमें चूल्हा होना चाहिए, सुबह शाम जलता है, यानी रोजगार भी होना चाहिए, उसमें नल होना चाहिए जो पानी देता हो, सारी चीजें की। इसलिए स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के ही तहत उन्होंने सबको शौचालय देने का निर्णय लिया, आवास देने का निर्णय लिया। तो सारी चीजें ऐसी हैं कि एक भारत को मजबूत राष्ट्र बनाने का प्रयास जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का है उसको हमको पूरा करने का काम करना। तो मेरा आपसे कहना है कि ये सब जब करेंगे तो प्लास्टिक को हमको जलाना नहीं है, कचरे को जलाना नहीं है, उससे जो उत्सर्जन होता है, जो गैसें निकलती हैं, जो टेम्परेचर निकलता है, इससे इन्वायरमेंट गर्म होता है, प्रदूषण फैलता है। प्रदूषण मुक्त भी हमको अपना देश बनाना है। इसलिए अपशिष्ट को हमको रिसाइकलिंग करनी है, उसे जलाना नहीं है। ये गलती हमें करने की जरूरत नहीं है, ये ध्यान में रखना। इसलिए जो हमारी जो आगामी पहल है वो सरकार के द्वारा जो की जा रही उस पर ध्यान देना है कि 2021 से 2030 तक अनुमानित कार्बन उत्सर्जन में 1 बिलियन टन की कमी लाना है। ये टारगेट हमारा सरकार ने तय करने का काम किया है। दूसरा ये कि अखिल भारतीय स्तर पर स्कूली बसों में बच्चों के अंदर जागरूकता फैलाना। मैं फिर एक बार कह रहा हूं कि स्कूल से ज्यादा बच्चे घर में जो पढ़ाई करते हैं वही आगे बढ़ करके जाते हैं। स्कूल में जो पढ़ाई है वो तो एक सिस्टम है, बच्चा स्कूल जाएगा और उसके बाद में घर में आके बैग फेंक देगा, लेकिन जो बैग फेंकने के बजाय रखता है और बाद में पढ़ता है वही बच्चे टॉप मोस्ट आगे निकल करके जाते हैं। तो घर से बच्चों को सिखाना ज्यादा जरूरी है। स्कूल में तो ये सब सिखाया ही जाता है, उनको मान लिया कि ये हमारी पढ़ाई का एक हिस्सा है। अपने जीवन में कैसे उसको उतारेंगे ये घर से ही उतरे। इसलिए हमें इसके लिए जो सीनियर सिटीजन हैं और बच्चों के जो माँ बाप हैं उनको इसके लिए सिखाना जरूरी है कि उनको क्या क्या बताना है, ये उनको बताना समझाना ज्यादा जरूरी है। इसके लिए हम निबंध और ये जो आयोजित करने की बातें ये तो हम करें, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकल में भी करें कि बच्चे जो है स्कूल में अगर कूड़ा है तो उससे हाथ से बिने, या एक दिन जो है थोड़ा सा टाइम निकालें, एक पीरियड ऐसा भी होना चाहिए, वो चाहे एक हफ्ते में 1 घंटे का हो, आधे घंटे का हो, कि जो स्कूल का ग्राउंड है उसको पूरा स्वच्छ रखेंगे, उसमें एक भी कागज का टुकड़ा नहीं मिलेगा। अभियान के तहत करें, ये बच्चों के अंदर दिल के अंदर उतर के जाएगा। और अगले दिन पूछेंगे कि आपके घर में जो है आपने जो पूरा घर का वो साफ घर है कि नहीं है। तो आजकल तो जो है IT का जमाना है, एक पूरे घर का साफ वीडियो बना करके, कहीं पर कूड़ा कचरा नहीं है, कम से कम वो जो है स्कूल में एक ऐप या जो भी एक आप जारी करें, वीडियो जारी करें, उसको एक नंबर दें, उसमें जारी करें। वो भले उसको आप ना देखें, स्कूल के टीचर उसे ना देखें, लेकिन वो होगा कि मैंने डाला है तो देखेंगे। तो इससे एक जागरूकता बनेगी और प्रैक्टिकल में वो काम करने का काम करेंगे। हमारा लक्ष्य है 2030 तक भारत अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था को कि कार्बन तीव्रता को 45% से भी कम कर देगा। जो कार्बन तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, मैं आपको बताऊं कि मैं अभी ऑल इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आयुर्वेद में मैं एडमिट था अपना पंचकर्मा कराने के लिए। तो जो प्लास्टिक की घास डाली जाती है, तो मैं सुबह टहलने के लिए एक बार चला गया नंगे पैर। तो नंगे पैर में उसमें 10 मिनट टहला, हरी हरी घास दिख रही थी। मेरे पैर दोनों जो है काले हो गए, ब्लैक। अब मैं समझ नहीं पाया कि क्या है इसमें, कैसे काले हो गए। तो मेरी समझ में आया, ये जो प्रदूषण उड़ता है, ये दिल्ली की बात कर रहा हूं मैं, ये जो प्रदूषण उड़ता है वो रात में वो प्रदूषण ओस के द्वारा आ करके, उस पे ओस पड़ी थी, ओस के द्वारा आ करके वो गिरता है। और इसलिए चूंकि नंगे पैर में था, इसलिए उसमें बड़े पैमाने पे कार्बन था जो मेरे पैरों में वो चिपक गया। आप समझिए कि कितना प्रदूषण है दिल्ली में, शहरों में कितना प्रदूषण हो रहा है। इसलिए मैं बता रहा हूं कि प्रदूषण को तेजी से कम करना होगा और 2030 तक 45% प्रदूषण को कम, यानी कार्बन को कम करना है। और इसके लिए जो है हम अभी से जितना कर सकते हैं उतना हमको करने की जरूरत है। इसमें जितना भाग लेंगे, वरना ये जीवन को खतरा है, जीवन को खतरा है, ये ध्यान में रख करके करना है। टारगेट हमारा 2070 तक ज्यादा समय का है, हम और पहले कर लें ज्यादा ठीक है, लेकिन 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल कर लेगा। यानी एक टारगेट तय किया है कि 2070 तक हम हिंदुस्तान को कार्बन मुक्त कर देंगे, ये टारगेट है। तो ये टारगेट ऐसे नहीं पूरा होगा, टारगेट ऐसे नहीं पूरा होगा। टारगेट को पूरा करने के लिए काम करना पड़ेगा। जैसे 100 स्मार्ट सिटी चुनने थे, अब चुनने के लिए 100 स्मार्ट सिटी चुनने में जो है 3 साल लग गए। इसका मतलब काम की जो अधिकारियों की जिम्मेदारी थी उसको सही तरीके से नहीं निभाया। 100 स्मार्ट सिटी पूरे देश में चुनने में 3 साल लगने का क्या औचित्य था? हमारा समय बर्बाद हुआ। और फिर उसको जो है हमें जल्दी पूरा करना था। अब वो 2023 तक उन्हें हमें स्मार्ट सिटी कंप्लीट करना है, तो हमको टाइम बाउंड कार्यक्रम करना है। इसलिए हम जितनी जल्दी इसको स्पीड में लेकर के करेंगे वो ज्यादा ठीक है। दूसरे के ऊपर बोझ डालने के बजाय हम खुद उस इस सिस्टम का पार्ट बने और खुद इसको संचालित करें, खुद सिस्टम का पार्ट बन करके काम करेंगे तो हमें ज्यादा सफलता मिलेगी। इस सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को खत्म करने आए हमको इसी साल में, और इसके लिए जो आप लोगों ने, सब लोगों ने मिलकर आज यहाँ पर जो एक वर्चुअल ये जो इसके लिए जो है रीजनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए इसमें जो शामिल सभी लोगों को मैं अपनी तरफ से धन्यवाद देता हूँ, आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ, आपका सबका अभिनंदन करता हूँ। सब लोग एक जागरूक नागरिक की हैसियत से अपनी अपनी जिम्मेदारी निभाएंगे और आने वाले समय में हम स्वच्छ भारत, कचरा मुक्त भारत, कचरा मुक्त शहर और कार्बन मुक्त देश बनाने में निश्चित तरीके से सफल होंगे, जिसमें आपकी सबसे अहम भूमिका होगी। धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। हम सच में आभारी हैं, इतने बिजी वक्त पे आपने वक्त निकाला और हमें दिया। और मैं कमल जी को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा 1 मिनट में कुछ बोले, फिर हमारे नंद किशोर सर थोड़ा सा एक मीटिंग है उनका, एंड देन हम Shamila ma'am,
Thank you.
मैं चाह रहा था आप भी कैमरा में, if you could be in the camera, would have been great to take a photo with the minister. So Kamal ji.
Yeah, thank you मंत्री जी. आपका भाषण सुन के हम लोगों को बहुत सारे पॉइंटर्स मिले हैं आज. आपने बहुत ही important points जो उठाए, like upscaling of recycling. हमें recycling को upscale करना है, and also you have said that there is a responsibility of citizen and citizen participation to make it as a national movement like Swachh Bharat. So we are hopeful to have those kind of initiatives coming up to engage with citizens, and also the 4,700 cities that have been identified by Government of India to ensure segregation at source. It would be a boon for both for the all the stakeholders, industry, as well as state governments and authorities, to have a very focused approach on how we have to ensure segregation of waste at source. Because once plastic is segregated at source, it has its own economic value, and that helps in the recycling and all that. So with this kind of a context, I think we are all set for today. This is one of the great directions. So Akram, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Kamal. Now we move to our first session, prioritizing HPP items for phase out. और इस पे हमारे मॉडरेटर हैं कमल जी हैं. कमल जी को मैं सबसे पहले रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, सबसे पहले नंद सर को बुलाएं, थोड़ा सा मीटिंग है उनका. तो कमल जी एक ब्रीफ बैकग्राउंड को सर से सुन लेते हैं. सर.
Yeah. So thank you, Akram, and it is great to moderate this session with the leading regulators from state government. Welcome, Shamila ma'am, again back. So we are sincerely thankful for taking out time from your busy schedule. Mr. Nandakumar Gurav, thank you so much for joining in. Mr. Gurav is the regional officer of Headquarter Technical, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. We would have Dr. Sangeeta Hasnale, Deputy Commissioner, Swachh Bharat Mission, Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation. We would have Mr. Shri Rajesh Bhagat, Deputy Commissioner, SWM, Swachh Bharat Mission, Nagpur Municipal Corporation. Shri Ajit Deshmukh, Deputy Commissioner, Swachh Bharat Mission, Pune Municipal Corporation. Shri Harshad Ray J. Solanki, Director, Swachh Bharat Mission, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, and Mr. Ashish Jain, Director, IPCA, Mr. Matthew Jones, Founder and CEO, Paperman, Mr. Anurag Tiwari, Co-Founder of Recard Private Limited. Welcome to all the panelists. Yeah, welcome to all the panelists for this session, which is prioritizing SUP items for phase out. We have seen that a national list of SUP is being notified. There are some directions which have been issued by CPCB to SPCBs. There are a lot of actions now being considered by regulators at various levels. So, but we have to ensure that there are certain way forward which would not impact the businesses too much. Although we understand it is a phase out, there would be an impact, but how we can minimize it, how we can take certain directions or take certain in a very inclusive manner, that would be a very good thing. So I would request Dr. Shamila Montero. Ma'am, you were having your intervention earlier before the minister, and we have to just request you. So Dr. Shamila, if you can continue your briefing speech.
May I intervene, Kamal Sharma sir? Shamila madam, because I have meeting with the Honorable CS sir. So I request Akram ji to give me a chance of 5 minutes so that I can have interactions, and I can, with the permission of Dr. Shamila madam. Madam, may I?
Yeah, with permission of Shamila ma'am. Yeah, it's
Thank you, Akram ji, Kamal ji. Initially, Honorable Kaushal Kishore, Honorable Minister of State and Housing Finance and other dignitaries. Myself is Nanda Kumar Guru, Regional Officer HP from the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, heading the division of the waste management. All of you are aware that the annual plastic consumption of India is around 18.5 million tons. And out of that, more than 15 to 20% contribution is from the Maharashtra. The per capita annual plastic consumption is 13.6 kg. The plastic waste management has become a major challenge in the country since last few years, and the government is trying to improve the situations by regulating the plastic waste uses itself to reduce the plastic waste quantity. Under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, as said by our Honorable Minister, the Government of India in August 21 issued a notification on the single-use plastic ban, and there is some on thickness criteria for the use of plastic carry bag. That is 75 microns and 120 microns. But I would like to say that the Maharashtra is a pioneer state in banning the single-use plastic items as well as the carry bags, irrespective of size and shape. In 2018, we have issued the notification wherein we have banned all carry bags, irrespective of size and thickness, and we have banned some of the single-use plastic items. Another important features of the Maharashtra plastic ban is because of economics is most important in waste management. Unless and until we are not giving any price to the waste, it will not be recycled properly. It will not be have a circular economy. For that purpose, in our notification, we have mentioned that every plastic waste plastic producer, they have to they have to mention the buyback price on their plastic products or plastic packaging material. So it becomes mandatory on the plastic packaging material manufacturers or brand owners to print the price or buyback price of the plastic waste at the after use of the consumers. So this is one of the important what we called as features of the Maharashtra plastic notifications. And we have also already given a lot of what we called as initially there was only two government authorities can take actions against the plastic violators, ban plastic items, local bodies and the State Pollution Control Board. But we have authorized 21 different government authorities to take the actions against the use of the against the violators of the using the banned plastic items. So these are the two important what we called as our features, and accordingly we have started. Initially, our plastic notification was welcomed by all the all public at large, but because of COVID, there are some we are having restrictions on the implementation of this what we called as our notifications. We have started the imposing fine, and we have collected more than 10 crores fine from the in the state of Maharashtra since last 2 years, who are using the what we call as banned plastic, and we have seized near about 2,900 tons of the plastics. So our aim is not to ban or not to fine or not to seize, but we have to create the awareness amongst the people in order to what we call as not to use a single-use plastic and go for alternative. For which purpose we have distributed 35 lakhs of plastic cloth bags in a school in order to go to the message to the home that they should not use the plastic carry bag, and they should tell their parents that they shall not use the plastic carry bag for marketplaces. Besides that, basically the plastic waste management is an important task. There are some allowable plastic also, but if we are not properly collected, or it will not be what we call as have collection centers, it will be very difficult to what we call as the plastic waste management. For that purpose, the Maharashtra took initiatives, and we have given directions to the leading brand owners. Direction under Section 5. To earmark some separate fund, because everywhere the economics is the matters. The brand owners or any production activity or any industry, they are having focus on their product and their manufacturing activity, but less attention on the waste management. So we have given directions to create a separate EPR fund, 15 paise per PET bottle there, and 25 paise for each sachets, and they have to submit a report quarterly to the State Pollution Control Board how they have utilized their EPR fund for the utilizations of the plastic waste management. So these are the one of the important what we called as we have taken the decisions, and because of that only most of the brand owners come together, because it is very difficult to individual brand owners to establish the collection centers. So there are more than 10-12 PROs are working in the state of Maharashtra who are collecting the plastic waste on behalf of the brand owners. This is in Maharashtra in last 2 years, near about what we call as 30,000 or 46,000 plastic waste is being co-processed in the cement industries. Another important decisions we have taken, we have issued directions to the what we call as all plastic manufacturers, plastic articles manufacturers, that they should utilize 20% recyclable plastics. For example, plastic chair they are manufacturing, they can explore the possibility of utilization of 20% plastic, so waste plastic. So these are the two important we have took the decisions, and we are in process of what we call as recently the central government has framed the guidelines for EPR implementations, but there are major challenges that we are facing. Especially at present, PROs are working on behalf of the brand owners and collecting the plastic waste. The major challenge is the validation of PRO information is the important challenge, because whatever the PRO is sending the information that we are collected so many plastics, but the traceability and what we called as traceability of the plastic waste collection and recycling is one of the important challenge that we are facing, and the compliance of EPR by the non-brand owners. The brand owners we can catch, but non-brand owners, how we will comply? We will get compliance of the brand from non-brand owners. That is one of the important what we call as challenges we are facing. Recently, the Central Pollution Control Board has launched the one what we call as online registration platform for EPR, and we are in process. We will see what will be the results of that, and we will go ahead with this. And thank you, WeCare as well as the Times Policy for giving me an opportunity to share my views of the state of Maharashtra. Thank you very much. Because of I'm having meeting with the Honorable CS sir, so I have to rush to Mantralaya. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gaurav. It was really insightful to know all the actions that have been taken under your leadership, and we look forward. WeCare had been interacting with MPCB on various issues, but yes, you very rightly said that there is a challenge of orphan products, if I may say, that the products which are unbranded, and that constitutes a larger chunk. It's really a larger chunk as far as the overall consumption of products are concerned. So thank you so much. We request Dr. Shamila Monteiro, ma'am, welcome to the session, and we look forward to your views on this. Thank you. You may unmute, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister for State for Urban Development. Earlier I have already started my talk, so I think I'll just continue. As I was saying, ocean beds, rivers, backwaters, mangroves, they're all full of plastic, and I think you, all of us who are gathered here will know this. And fishermen, in fact, fishermen, when they go out to the sea, they come back with plastic rather than fish. And it's really so sad to see sometimes the traditional fishermen catching plastic instead of fish. So this is why it is so important and so serious. In fact, even fish flesh is supposed to be now with microplastic. And recently, I think all of us have read that article in The Guardian, a paper published in The Guardian, wherein they said that even they have found microplastic in human blood. So we can know now how serious this is and what a serious matter we are dealing with. And it is all of us should collectively strive hard to eliminate the single-use plastic, because single-use plastic is so difficult to handle, it is difficult to collect, and ultimately it ends up in the ocean. And here in Goa, what are we doing about it? The state government is very keen. In fact, Goa was one of the first states to have the Non-Biodegradable Garbage Control Act, and it has been amended, and it has banned single-use plastics such as straws, plastic bags, cutlery, earbuds. And another very interesting thing is that it has got a provision to levy fines to even those who litter in public places. And just like how Maharashtra Pollution Control Board has said, it is not just one or two departments or officials who have got the power to levy fines, but there are a lot number of officials who are now mandated and can impose fines on people who are carrying plastic or who are using this, banned items. Now, Government of India has come up with the new rule wherein there is a phased manner on, and they've targeted given a deadline of July to complete for complete ban of SUPs. So this is something which is really good, and we need to strive hard to, achieve this goal. In just like how Maharashtra Pollution Control Board also has said, although the plastic waste rules say that the PROs, EPROs have to give a good, and the certificate or the accountability should be there. But however, we have seen also that sometimes the things don't match. So what in the state of Goa we have done as a pollution control board, we have got a Goa Waste Management Corporation. Okay, so we have authorized them and we have made them the single nodal agency to issue the EPR certificates. So it can be authenticated that yes, this particular industry is taking care of this much of waste what they have produced. So in that way, this is one of a very good practice what we have. We see that it is taking good care of it. Another thing what we do here in Goa is although we have issued these notifications, but on the ground, there is a lot of difficulty in implementing it. Even the urban local bodies, they have put it in their bylaws to, fine, and they have got their rules wherein they can do surprise inspections, find the people who are carrying and dealers, wholesalers in this banned items. So they also levy the fines, and then they give the report to the Pollution Control Board. And at the moment, how is our process of dealing with this, and how do we collect the waste? So every local body, in fact, we had a writ petition in the High Court, wherein the urban local bodies, panchayats, they were all a party towards in the court matter. So now every panchayat, every municipality has got a material recovery facility where they have to handle and take care of their waste. So here they collect, and now they have appointed waste collectors to collect waste from the household, the dry waste, and they segregate this waste into non-recyclable and recyclable. So they segregate this waste in the material recovery facility, and then it is sent for co-processing, the ones which cannot be recycled. So this is one of the ways in which we are tackling the waste. And I think everyone knows, if you see CPCB's website also, Goa generates almost around 20,000 of plastic waste in the country. It's one of the highest. And of course, I wouldn't say because Goa is a tourist destination. So we do have a lot of plastic. And also there is, the collection is very good in Goa, collection of the waste, because even we have got people who will collect the waste from the highways, because we have got the Goa Waste Management Corporation who deals with all the waste and collects waste from the highways. From the beaches, we have the Goa Tourism Corporation who collects all the waste from the beach areas also. So the accountability is also there, and therefore perhaps we are able to say that we are generating so much of plastic waste. The reporting is also good. And another good thing what we have done is that the state has engaged TERI to draft the EPR policy, and it will define producers, type of waste and waste generators. They will prepare a report on the plastic waste generation and the current situation and status of implementation of the plastic waste management rules, and present case studies on the best practices to phase out single-use plastic and allied products. Now, what is the way forward? Because what has happened is that now the CPCB has, given us those directions. So what the Pollution Control Board has done on that? So what we have done is, in the state of Goa, we don't have any manufacturers of single-use plastic. But sometimes we have got people, industries who who manufacture plastic, but the plastic which is permitted. Okay, so but we have conducted this industry survey, and we also need to do surprise checks to see whether these industries are not, because we have got some industries which make the films, plastic films. So whether they are of the size which is permitted or not permitted. So we have done all this kind of industry survey, because Goa is very small, so we can complete this survey on time. We also have done a market survey, and we have done this market survey along with the local urban bodies, so that they are also aware, because actually at the ground level, the local urban bodies will be actually knowing who are these dealers and who are the wholesalers. So we have gone on, along with them just a week back, and we could find that some of the dealers have these banned products with them, especially the plastic carry bags and all. So and they are not manufactured here, so they are manufactured outside the state. Okay, so now we intend to write to their state pollution control boards also to say that yes, these kind of plastic bags are coming from your state. Please see that these items do not come to the state. Then we have already issued directions to the local urban bodies to see that they create awareness among the people, and also to conduct these market surveys, to do surprise checks to their in their market, because we have a lot of fairs, and even for any religious gatherings. So you have the stalls which come up. Sometimes you do have a lot of waste generation in those areas. So we have issued a lot of directions to the local urban bodies, and we have told them to give us an action plan. So when you have an action plan in hand, then we need to review it every week or every 15 days to see how we are achieving our target or not. And it's easy at times to say that you ban the single-use plastic, because on paper it's okay, you ban it, but we need to see that the industries which are dealing with the single-use plastic, or the people who use the single-use plastic, whether how they can go into alternative ways of other alternatives to this particular plastic. And CPET is here, of course, so they will also throw light on industries which are doing alternative to the plastic. We had recently the elections in Goa. So we combined, as a pollution control board, we combined with the state election commission office, and we distributed cloth bags to all the electoral in the state of Goa as a awareness drive. So we distributed cloth bags to each and every electoral, and also we intend continuing this, because we have levied fines on the municipal corporations and also on the panchayats. So whatever fund we have got from that polluter pays penalty, we have contributed towards the cloth bags, and we have given it to each household. So we want to complete giving each and every household a bag. So that way, at least some kind of awareness will go in place. And we also have scheduled awareness programs for the industries, as well as for the authorities to create this awareness so that, this kind of plastic is not done. Especially, restaurants who give takeaway foods, or, people who pack sweets sometimes. So sometimes they don't know that this is a banned item. So we need to create this awareness. So these are a few of our awareness programs, what we have been doing. I think, and as also I was listening to Honorable Minister for State, his thought on making small videos and, putting it on Twitter, putting it on Facebook, those things really create a lot of awareness. And also like the children coming home and, a day where they have the cleanliness drive around their house and uploading it on a small video on their group or in their school. It's something really very interesting to, see and, take aways like. So these are some of the things what we have been doing on single-use plastic. And of course, levy of compensation and fines is also there for the people who will, violate. So yes, so thank you so much. With that, I think I will end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. It was really good to know all the initiative. You were so humble. You said that these are very few, but we could understand is that you have touched base every set of stakeholders in Goa, and it is important. I mean, the kind of initiative you have taken, like using the levy from compensation and utilizing it for creating awareness. And that cloth bag that you are distributing, it is, I think it in my home, if I may say, it would be of 2 year or 3 year of a lifetime. So for 2 year or 3 year of a lifetime, that cloth bag is going to remind me my responsibility. And that's a excellent work that under your leadership is being undertaken. We look forward to closely working with you, ma'am, as we would engage with you on how we can take this journey forward. Your initiative on having a dedicated agency for handling the plastic waste. So our members are aware of it, and many of them are doing it through that. But there are some challenges that they are facing. We would come back to you separately on that, and we would seek your guidance. So
Sangeeta
thank you, ma'am, for joining in. Yeah.
Yeah, Sangeeta ma'am is here. Sangeeta Hansalim, we can invite. Sangeeta ma'am, if you can come with camera, so that we can see you, ma'am. And also, please unmute yourself.
Unmute me, na?
So
yes, ma'am. Now you can unmute.
Yeah,
we can hear you, ma'am. Yeah, great. Kamal, over to you. Please introduce.
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am. Dr. Sangeeta Hasnale. Yeah.
Good morning.
You are to introduce you to our fellow panelists and all the delegates. Dr. Hasnale is the Deputy Municipal Commissioner, Swachh Bharat Mission of Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation. Welcome, ma'am, for this exclusive conference on Western Region. WeCare is a national consortium of 37 brands who are undertaking a lot of initiatives, and one of them is a policy dialogue series. This is the third event in our series. Earlier, we had organized a northern region and southern region, and today we are with all the stakeholders from Western region. And we have a leader like you coming from a city like Mumbai, which has its own always buzzing life. And people, I was in Mumbai in the last 3 days, and I came back yesterday. And I could see the kind of efforts that even a small hawker is aware of its responsibility. They were not even allowing people to throw the waste here and there. There was a proper system, whether it's a small hawker or a big hotel. Everyone was kind of doing their bit. I was really happy to note that. So over to you, ma'am. We would request your address to this gathering, and please share your views and thoughts that how Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation is taking efforts to making citizens aware on single-use plastic, and also how we can shift to alternate materials and all that. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I just miss. I'm really thankful to you that I could address this because this issue is very near to my heart. I can just say that everyone knows what is the plastic rule or a plastic law or what are the MPCB guidelines, and now new MPCB guidelines have come. So that I was reading other day. So I was saying myself, Ray, we are actually working on this path, but we have to intensify. So what exactly MCGM is doing, that I would like to share with you all. Right now, I am a Deputy Municipal Commissioner for a solid waste management. So it is not only Swachh Bharat Mumbai, but I head the department which manages the entire waste of the Mumbai. Whether it is a dumping ground or whether it is a household to house collection of the waste, everything. So, and before that, I was heading market department, and that time when in 2014 we actually started working on a plastic waste, 2016. And that time I was heading market department and I was head for a plastic Nirmulan Pathak. So we have, corporation is having, various department. We work in a department and we work in a zone wise. Like Mumbai is divided into, for administrative easiness, it has been divided into 24 wards. And then it is divided into city, eastern and western suburb and the zones. And there are deputy municipal commissioner and assistant commissioner who's looking administratively every ward. Yeah, phone number. I'm speaking from phone. This thing is not getting attached. So in between there can be a disturbance, but please pardon me. So we have, tackle our plastic waste management into 3 parts, One, there is no, actually, there are factories which produces the plastic within Mumbai also. Then there are, sailors or a distributor of plastic waste. Then secondly, there are users. And thirdly, whatever plastic comes, management of this plastic. So it divides into 3 parts. So first part is about the regulation. So whatever laws are there, according to that, we have to take the action. So what we started, and then fourth part is very important. Mumbai people feel is IEC activity or a social responsibility. So whether it is a personal social responsibility or a corporation as a social responsibility or a social responsibility of the producer or a end user. So we work at all the 4 sections. The first section will be the regulation. For that, the other departments are there, where we are having Deputy Municipal Commissioner Special and Deputy Municipal Commissioner Encroachment. So they head the shops and establishment department, license department, market department, and take action on they are having squads who take action on illegal activities. Whether it is apart from a construction and all that illegal activities, illegal use of plastic or a storage of plastic or a sale of a plastic which are actually banned. So in regulation, what happened? Our shops and establishment inspectors, our license inspector, our medical officer of health who look after the hospitals or hotels, all those. So all are a market inspector. All these inspectors have been trained with respect to all the plastic laws or bylaws, whatever, what plastic can be used, what plastic should not be used, and what should be the action initiated by them. So they in turn train all our licensees or those who are actually using this end user of the plastic. Like it may be hawker, it may be like shopkeeper, it may be hotelier. So we had various sessions with them. We had meetings with their association, and we informed them. We showed them which is the plastic which is usable and which is the plastic which cannot be used. And we gave them a timeline saying that this is the time. And then we had audio visuals also, pictures, and all this was shown at the time of meeting with them, having banners, posters. Then we had a ratha yatra. We had a big rath which had many pictures on it showing that this is the plastic which is banned, and it was this rath was there at every station, railway station, where people in lot they come out, and then they used to see that chitra rath. It is a colorful chitra rath, and then they used to get attracted, and there we had a woman self-help group selling their cotton bags. So this way we integrated our IC activity with our what is the regulations. So we had a sentence also in our every what is certificate which we issue to the this thing, that this plastic is banned, like one time use plastic or a plastic below 50 micron. And then inspectors and all the license all the inspectors of market, license department, shops and all, they started visiting their individual establishment, and if they find there is a plastic, they started seizing that plastic, and then they started taking imposing penalty on them. So this was the first step we started. However, because of Corona COVID, again we lag behind, but again we restarted. But I think not only the regulation, but it was our IC activity which actually inculcated certain habits among our citizens within the Mumbai. Then second thing comes is what, though there is a ban on certain plastic, but there is no ban on other plastic. So this plastic has to be collected, have to be recycled. So that is a responsibility of the local body of corporation. So for that, there is a SWM department. So in SWM department, in 24 ward, we are having total 46 centers, where with the help of UNDP and NGO, NGOs are mainly Kachra Vechak Sangatna, means all those people who go and collect, all these plastic or waste from road or from dumping yard. So they are having their union, their association, and there are around 10,000 women and male are in that. So with the help of this NGO and UNDP, we could establish 46 centers in 24 ward, where all kind of plastic is collected and brought here. And also we have, like societies, and in society, within societies, there are, sweepers. So we train those sweeper. So those sweeper also collect their plastic, and in this center, they pay to them, for the plastic. So people come and give their plastic. So around 200 metric ton of plastic is daily collected. Only plastic is collected, daily in these centers, and they are sent to various recycle plant, which is outside Mumbai. So these plastics are used for, making, from t-shirts to some furniture or fuel also. So we are having, in like this cycle, and this is properly monitored. We monitor all this activity in a way, like, if a certain center is established, then when it is established, and when if the certain amount of metric ton of waste is going here, then that many means, number of vehicles which carrying waste to the dumping yard should reduce. So that is a one criteria which shows that our plastic or our dry waste goes to dry waste center only. And we are not only have stopped here with a 46 center, but we are going to have a dedicated more centers, and we are working towards it. So at present, in D ward of Mumbai, it is in a South Mumbai, we are having one center where entire plastic goes there. It is converted into energy, electricity, and this electricity is used in a garden. And we are going to have a 24 such center in 24 wards. And apart from that, we are going to have one center at Mumbai VT near in A ward. It is a Churchgate VT area, where entire South Mumbai's plastic will be collected there, and not a single small plastic will go to dumping yard from this entire South Mumbai. And this plastic will be processed into electricity, or it will be converted into fuel. And our plan is that, in 24 watt, whatever plastic will be generated, collected, it will get converted into electricity, which will be used for a e-vehicle station, e-station, EV station, for a vehicle charging station. So that is our plan, and we are working towards it. And I am very hopeful that within 6 months we will be establishing such kind of center in 24 watt. So this becomes, Mumbai Mahanagar Palika's, MCG's responsibility towards, recycling of a plastic, or not allowing plastic to go to the dumping yard. Now our responsibility does not get over here only. What happens, like since 1984 or before that, like 1980s, from 80s this plastic came into existence, in India. Before that it must be there, but was very meager, but it was rampantly we started using from 80s onward. And this plastic is dumped in our dumping yard. And this is the potential source of hazard, and it does not get into degraded. And then because of that, our dumping yard is only increasing in height. So we started our bio-mining. Mumbai is having 4 dumping yards. One is at Devnath, one is at Kanjur, secondly Mulund, and Gorai. Gorai we have closed, and we have converted it into garden. We are going to do the bio-mining of the same and in future. Right now, we have started we have stopped using Mulund dumping ground, and we have started our bio-mining over there. And daily we separate our, the waste, which was a wet waste, which got converted into enriched soil. We cannot call it a compost, but it can be called as an enriched soil, and it has a particulate matter that is, small or a big pieces of, thermocol, polystyrene, other polyethylene bags, cloth, which cannot be converted into any, enriched soil. So that is also separated. And this RDF is, packed into small cubicles, and now it is sent to the other place where it is converted into a crude oil, and this crude oil is used in various furnaces and all. So this process has been started 2 years back, but now it has got the momentum, because in between, because of Corona COVID, there was no manpower, no machinery, many projects got halted. But now again it has started getting momentum, and daily we are processing around 6,000 to 7,000 metric ton of waste of our Mulund dumping ground. Similar waste to energy project is in process. We are already tendered. We are in process. We have handed over the land to the company, and it is a PPP model and BOT model. And this our daily biomine and around 1,000 metric ton of waste, which will come from the Mumbai. 600. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yeah. 600 metric ton of waste, this plastic waste will go to this Devnath dumping ground, and it will get converted into electricity. So this project, we are expecting that within 1 year, it should get activated. So, and then now most of our Vinod Mishra sir phone करायचो. आता सांगा की मी phone नाही घेऊ शकत. Vinod Mishra. Hello. And then we are having Mulund dumping, this Kanjurmarg dumping ground, where around 5,500 metric ton of waste goes there. Of that, 1,000 metric ton of waste is, compostable waste, and remaining is a mixed waste. From that, plastic is separated and the wet waste is separated. And then all this waste is, processed. So there also, we are going to convert this plastic waste into energy. But the process is halted for a reason of some permissions are needed, and that permissions will be in place in another 6 months and so. So this way we are trying to, eliminate the new generated plastic and the old plastic. But apart from this, the third is the what you call is a CPR, EPR, that is a extended producer responsibility. And extended producer responsibility, like, those who are producing all this plastic. For example, you can take a Bisleri or what do you say, any cold drink. This is one example I'm giving. There are multiple examples. So we are now going to have, certain rules to be framed, which could not be framed for various unknown reason or known reason since last few years. And now these rules are in a final stage. We are coordinating with MPCB also, that our role and our authority should be increased while taking action on a EPR company if they are not able to fulfill their EPR responsibility. So, but under EPR, we are now having meetings with all these associations or all these company leaders, and we are going to have frame a policy in which in a particular way, the EPR will be means, whatever material comes to Mumbai will be monitored and eliminated by these company themselves. So it is not, one activity which helps Mumbai to eliminate this waste. It is a multiple activities are there, like rules and regulation. Secondly, actually implementations of rules and regulation by sending our officers and taking strict actions, doing IC activity. But we cannot tell people, "Arey, tum hai na plastic mein hai na, vapro mat," and you do this or you do that, unless until we give them the facility. So we work as a facilitator by having more and more centers which can collect the waste and convert it into, recycle it or upcycle it. We are taking action for the plastic which has been collected years together by way of biomining. Thirdly, we are doing, helping, asking people to act by taking action or sensitizing them, especially under EPR. And lastly, which is most important, that, IC activity by sensitizing every citizen in Mumbai and every producer or every officer in Mumbai to act for the, means, they have to be, responsible for their own waste. And last but not least, which is very important, that we are going to have a syllabus for the school children of Mumbai, where we are going to have a 1 hour session every week, how to segregate the waste, how to recycle the waste, and how to upcycle the waste, especially plastic and all, and not to use this plastic waste. And we are soon going to have, one picnic spot, which can be called as a picnic spot plus, educational spot. Just we have developed it at Kanjurmarg. It is in a final stage. We have to show to our higher authority and get a nod, where children can be brought there and shown there, because of waste, what are the things are happening in Mumbai and how we can segregate this waste. We are going to have audio visuals and actual site visit and actual processing we are going to show them. So this way we will, sensitize our junior citizens who will become a responsible citizen in future, and they will not need, any training or IC activity to tell them that, they have to work this way for a waste. So this is what Mumbai is doing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for multi-pronged approach for addressing the solid waste issue in Mumbai and the kind of quantum of waste that Mumbai handles, and also being nearer to the sea. You have to also ensure that the marine life is not impacted out of plastic pollution. You have your initiatives span across citizens, and one important initiative to inculcate these things into the syllabus of students is going to be take us in a very better sense that the next generation, there would be no IC activity, because they know what they need to do, and they are practitioners since their childhood. So thank you, ma'am, for joining us and sharing your insightful details. As WeCare, as a consortium of 37 brands who are doing EPR, we are at your disposal, ma'am. Any type of inputs, policy inputs, we are just a call away. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll take a leave.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So, with this, we would like to invite our other set of stakeholders who are basically help all of us to ensure that the plastics which is collected is channeled to its destined recycling or repurposing or for co-processing. So we have. So I would like to invite first Mr. Ashish Jain, who is the director of Indian Pollution Control Association. Ashish has been one of the pioneers in in the solid waste management, specifically the plastic waste recycling and collection into the country. He had been known for his initiatives like My 5 kg waste initiative. Ashish, we would like to understand from you that now you have been with us since last three conferences with different thematics. Now Western region has a specific focus on single-use plastics. So since your organization is handling waste per se, what is your experience in terms of if I may say single-use which are notified? How do you see like styrofoam plates, cup plates, the kind of items that have been banned? Because you are supposed to take back every category of plastic, and these would also be coming in the chain. Do you think that government has taken a right step in giving these items emphasis on phasing out of single use, and also your inputs on how the plastic waste in totality needs to be scaled up. What are the key enablers that you think would help all the stakeholders? What do you have?
Yeah, thank you, Kamal, and it was a pleasure listening a speaker from Maharashtra and Goa, and came to know their journey and efforts in reducing single-use plastic or managing plastic waste. It was a wonderful talk by the previous speakers, especially Dr. Sangeeta, Dr. Gurav, and from a speaker from the Goa. So I directly come to your question. So we must welcome the government initiative, central government or state government to ban single-use plastic, and they have identified. They have not put the blanket ban on all single-use plastic. So they have started this ban on phase manner. Like they have identified like 19 plastic item which will be banned or phased out by July 2022. And I really appreciate the CPCB developed the action plan and CPCB direction to all other stakeholders, especially State Pollution Control Board and ULB, to make a plan for phasing out the single-use plastic. They have given clear direction to State Pollution Control Board that and then State Pollution Control Board communicate the same guideline and direction to the urban local bodies, because these are the people who will work on the ground and monitor the availability of single-use plastic after July 2022, and they will make the ground level action plan to control the ban to control the use of single-use plastic. So first time I'm seeing the policymaker are including the flow of single-use plastic from practical community also. If you have gone through that action plan or direction given by CPCB, they have mentioned that urban local bodies or the State Pollution Control Board also have to check the flow of single-use material from the scrap dealer to the producer of single-use plastic manufacturer. So this is very, very interesting and innovative approach by the government, and we have to see whether we would be able to implement this action plan on ground, because I must say Indian government or India have best policy related to solid waste management. We have 6 rules. Means we have a specific rule for a specific waste. So we are not poor in terms of policy. We are very rich in terms of knowledge and policy and the action plan, but we are somehow lacking on the implementation part. And this time, the message throughout from top to bottom should be uniform. And many state pollution control board are organizing awareness and capacity building program for the people who will implement this single-use plastic rule at the ground level. I'm part of such training program. I am appointed by Delhi Pollution Control Committee, and Delhi Pollution Control Committee is organizing capacity building program for all the municipalities. And not only with the top officers, they are organizing this awareness campaign or training campaign for the sanitary officers who will randomly go to the retailers or wholesalers or the industry to check whether they are using single-use plastic or so. So this approach I really appreciate, and I think as Delhi Pollution Control Committee is organizing such campaign, other states is also organizing. So awareness is a very critical tool. We may have policies on board, or we may have policies on the website, but unless until the grassroots people who will implement, who is responsible to execute these policies, are not aware about these rules and regulations, we won't get the worth of it. So awareness, not only with the officers, awareness to the actual users of single-use plastic is also very much essential. And being an NGO and being a professional in the waste management sector, we are also organizing a lot of awareness campaign with different stakeholders. And like we are running a lot of campaign like a plastic exchange program. It's a symbolic program just to aware people that these kind of plastics. So organizing plastic exchange program with the cloth bag give us an opportunity to meet people and tell them that these items will be banned after July 2022, and you have to make alternatives. You have to switch your lifestyle to these kind of products. We are meeting the market association peoples. We are meeting the producers of single-use plastic and telling them the alternatives of because banning will not solve the entire problem. We are so much used to of these items. We need some alternatives, and suddenly when these products will not available, and the people, there will be a panic among the society. So we have to prepare people before this ban actually happened after July 2022. What would be the alternative solution? We're also working with the self-help groups. It's so this we are also seeing as an opportunity for the small help groups or the business new startups company. We are helping them to evolve new products or alternative products like cloth bags. So there are a lot of small help groups who are into stitching and tailoring of clothes. So we are motivating them to produce cloth bags of different designs and put some design work in the cloth bags so that retailers or the consumer can buy. So this will be the big business opportunity for those people. We have installed canopy in different market area to educate people, and we are conducting awareness program for many stakeholders, including residents, and make them aware that these items will be banned and you have to make your own arrangement. And I'm seeing a lot of positive response of this single-use plastic. Very few people are criticizing ban of this single-use plastic. This is very good thing. And people, I'm seeing a lot of Bartan Bhandar in my neighborhood. The religious places started Bartan Bhandar, and the people are taking utensils, stainless steel utensils in their small events like birthday party, wedding party. So which these people used to have disposable plate, disposable glasses. So people are shifting towards the sustainable use of commodity. So this is very good. So I really appreciate this kind of effort by the people, and I'm very happy that something is happening, and we are going toward meeting the Prime Minister goals of making India plastic waste free by 2023. Apart from single-use plastic policy, there are a lot of efforts are being placed not only by IPCA, by other organizations and brand owners. WeCare also EPR. So EPR is not now the impact of EPR is now being visible. RDF is getting disposed to the co-processing industries. Landfills height is getting reduced. So these are some input from my sides on this sectors. I hope more effort will be given to these sectors, and this sector will change the scenario, and India will be considered as the cleanest and beautiest country in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Yes, you very well emphasized the need of that right set of implementation is what we would be moving forward, and that would only take us to a kind of a scenario where our efforts are actually recognized, and we become a cleanest country in the world. So I think there are a lot of initiatives both from the industry side as well as government side, but as you rightly mentioned, that there need we need some kind of approach where we have citizen participation, we have participation from all the stakeholders. I think the earlier panelists also have elaborated the need or their own initiatives, like Mumbai doing a Rath Yatra to create awareness. Then they also having this kind of a knowledge being part of the syllabus of students, which is very important to note. So I would now I'll turn back to you with some questions at a later stage. Now I would turn to Mr. Matthew Jose, founder and CEO of Paperman. Matthew, if you can just switch on your camera.
Yeah, hi.
Welcome. Hi. Welcome, Matthew. Mr. Matthew Jose is a leader on plastic waste recycling. He's heading the organization known as Paperman, and they have an elaborate infrastructure, specifically in the southern part of the country. They are one of the leading organization to undertake EPR with a lot of brand owners. So Matthew, now I would request you to kindly share your views in terms of, because you are working with organizations which are self-help groups, which are organizations which help in the plastic waste collection, and the kind of efforts that we have seen over the last 2 years, whether it is in terms of Swachh Bharat by Government of India or industry doing EPR. What has been your experience on segregation of waste at source? So I want to give you different aspects to touch upon on segregation of waste at source, because we are seeing one way we mentioned Indore, which is one of the cleanest cities. They always come on the top in the survey of Swachh Sarvekshan. So, but we have other cities as well, which where we find that even the basic infrastructure is not up to the mark. So, what has been your experience in terms of working with these self-help groups or informal sector or a formal sector, what you can say, and share your views on what has been your experience in segregation of waste at source? What is where we are and where do we need to scale up? Yeah, over to you.
I think Ashish really summed up the whole thing beautifully. So I think everyone in this group will agree, because I think Ashish himself has been in this industry for more than 20 plus years. I've been in the space for about 12 years now. In the last couple of years, the kind of activities that has been in the space across the spectrum, and I'm saying segregation is one part of this thing. The awareness level of people, I think it's I've never seen this like 10 years back. It is definitely in the peak at this point, and India, we are in a very very good place in the last, I think, 2 years. And I'm not saying we've solved the issue, but we're definitely in the right direction in terms of schools promoting awareness about plastic issues, and the kind of work that is the municipalities, the corporations, the local self-help governments across the country, that they are engaging in this space, because they've really taken this up very seriously. I think we work with about more than 100 plus local self-help governments, and and we, like, every time what we are seeing is that excitement from their side, which is very refreshing to see, to ask us what are the best practices others are doing, right? When we work with the wide spectrum, they really want to know and they want to actually implement these things, which is very very exciting to see. The kind of infrastructure that has gone into supporting the segregation activities across. When I'm not just talking about the big cities like Chennai or Bangalore or like this. That's the area that we work in South India. But I'm talking about even smaller municipalities like Kumbakonam, or you take in like Hosudurga, like in Karnataka, or a small municipalities as well. And the kind of infrastructure they have invested and the kind of awareness activities that they have been doing over the last so many consistent, I think at least in the last 3 years, it's very, very consistent, has been really reaping rewards. There's a much higher, dry waste separated collection and composting that's happening at a local level. There is still mixing. I'm not denying the fact there are still issues. There are areas where information has not reached, and we are still a long way away. But I honestly feel, from Kamal, from your point, a segregation level activity, at least from my experience of working with these organizations or municipalities down south, it's definitely at a very, very peak at this point. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you. And yeah, so you said that we are at a right juncture. And we need to utilize this momentum of knowledge sharing and also the awareness to make it to the next level. But the real challenge is how we motivate citizens to segregate waste at source in their own home, and then have a kind of a system which would take back the collected waste separately and then channel it. So this is where I think our effort needs to be. So Matthew, I'll come back to you, but let me take a few points from our next speaker, Mr. Anurag Tiwari. Anurag is a co-founder of WeCare. WeCare is again one of the leading waste management agencies working with brand owners to undertake EPR. Anurag, what is your experience in terms of working with these self-help groups, and also do you think that the single-use plastics which are banned would, number one, reduce the nuisance, segregation nuisance? Because if we see the styrofoam cup plates, they are mostly non-recyclable. I mean, they are just destined for waste to energy. So do you think that this is the right move? And do you think that this is going to help those self-help groups on ground, that their alternatives are now available, and then those waste management system is basically focused on the right set of plastics for segregation? Over to you, Anurag.
Thank you. We raised the right point to discuss about how this is happening on ground. Without giving the options, without giving the replacements, without giving the another better way to complement or contribute in the lifestyle, we cannot phase out the single-use plastic. Plastic which is actually single-use means we are using it single time or one time because of the nature of the activity. So yes, we can phase out some things like plates or cutleries that we are using in our public events, but we cannot phase out things which are adding value in the life of our human in our daily life. So like I can add on an example like Tirupati in Tirumala. If you visited there, they they banned plastic in Tirumala region, in area, nearby area of the temple. So every day, 30 to 40,000 visitors or pilgrims are visiting temple. Every day, they are consuming many things which are which can be into plastic, but they solve this problem. I can give you one good information, like in India, DRS is happening. DRS means Deposit Return Scheme. For implementation of plastic waste EPR in Europe, the most successful methodology is DRS. And in India, DRS is happening. It is happening in Tirumala very successfully. So they replace the plastic bottle waste. They replace the plastic bottle supply chain with a glass bottle. They implemented 30 plus 30 rupees model in that. The price of bottle is 30 rupees and you need to pay 60 rupees for that. If you will return back that glass bottle, you will get your 30 rupees back. You can buy a bottle from anybody, any hawker. You can give bottle to any hawker. So they developed this efficient DRS model because the authority is having a holistic view or having a very clear understanding about the expectation and the requirement of the stakeholders. Stakeholder means the people who are coming one time in a year or one time in lifetime. They are habitual with the single-use plastic usage, but they are easily accommodating or easily adjusting with the policies of that particular region or area, because the authorities are implementing the policy with the alternatives. So if we will integrate the alternatives, if we add on or if we give the replacements or the options to the stakeholders, stakeholder means the consumers, they can easily adopt or they can easily accept your changes. So usually, means many times people discuss there is nothing happening on ground because of this single-use plastic ban. It is happening on state level. That's why it is not implementing in a good manner. So like a ma'am has mentioned about, Sangeeta ma'am, member secretary ma'am has mentioned about Goa. So she mentioned like they are having single-use plastic or they are having banned plastic material which is not produced in their state, because it is banned in their state, it is not banned in other state. So the problem is with the region, problem is with the stakeholder who are utilizing the material. So if we solve the problem with the countrywide ban in a phased manner, very customized, very thoughtfulness के साथ हम implement करें, बहुत ज्यादा अपने को स्टेक होल्डर कंसल्टेशन के बाद ये इंप्लीमेंट करना होगा. बहुत सारे ऐसे मटेरियल हैं जो अभी भी लोगों के लिए, अलग अलग स्टेक होल्डर्स के लिए ग्रे हैं. पीपल फील लाइक कि ये पाउचेस बैन होने चाहिए क्योंकि ये प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करते हैं, पर उनको नहीं पता है कि वो ईपीआर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के अंतर्गत आ रहे हैं, तो वो चीजें पूरी कर रहे हैं. सो यस, द न्यू पॉलिसी इज मेंशनिंग लाइक it can happen this time. We are expecting this time. We can expect a real impact or real phase-wise manner, phase-wise ban on ground. And I'm agreed with Ashi's point. We can do this with the understanding or with the involvement of ground stakeholders. The bottom of the pyramid stakeholders like the self-help groups or wastewater communities. It can be done now, we can think.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Anuragji. You very well pointed out the need for integrating the alternatives. We need to have alternatives, like Ashish mentioned. There are Bartan Bhandars which are coming up as an alternative to people who want to organize parties, and they can source those stainless steel plates in place of styrofoam plates. So yes, the integration of the alternatives Now, before moving to the next session, I would like to, ask all three of you, Ashish, Matthew, and Anurag, just share what are the two important points on top of your mind that which would help us in implementing these single-use plastic ban by 1st of July. Two important, enablers that you think should be considered by government or regulator. What do you?
So should I start?
Yeah. Yes.
So aggressive IAC is the need of an hour, because the ban of single-use plastic and what kind of single-use plastic is going to ban or phased out by July 2022. This message should be passed to each and every citizen of the country. Till date, very few stakeholders or very few citizens are aware about, means they are aware about the ban, but they're not aware about the type of items is banned. So all stakeholders, including NGOs, brand owners, state government, central government, ULB, have to take a massive awareness program to make people aware that these kind of things will be banned and will not be available for use, so that they can start thinking of the alternatives. And the message should be clear in our IAC. The message should be clear that there will be no shortcut of this ban. It is a blanket ban across the country. Manufacturer will not be allowed to produce such. Retailers are not will be not allowed to trade these kind of plastics. So this would be the one. And second, people should provide alternatives by the government. So state governments or central government should work to explore the alternatives of such kind of products, because we can't make a change in our lifestyle in a month or two. It's a change in lifestyle is a very slow process. We cannot change our habit in a day or two or in a month. So we have to provide alternatives to the public, and so that we won't create any panic among the because today people are criticizing single-use plastic, but another next day, when they will not find any commodity or any products in their lifestyle, they start criticizing the ban of single-use plastic. So we have to avoid such kind of situation will happen in future. So we have to create market for the alternatives market, and these two suggestions from my side to the government and to the stakeholders.
Sure. Thank you, Ashish. Yeah, over to Matthew.
Yeah. I think Ashish summed up well, and so just adding on to that, one important aspect would be there needs to be a space for anybody that's moving. Like, there's been you have to see this as a whole ecosystem that has been providing to a solution for a long time. We have to think beyond as a plastic or a thing. We have to see as an ecosystem that's been providing a solution for a certain consumer need for a long time, right? So there needs to be a supportive viability gap sort of a funding or something for the people to move to a new solution which is working according to the ban, which is, I think, very important. There's a lot to be thought through this. It should not be like, immediately a lot of people are going out of livelihood, and then, they have a black market that comes up, because that's how it usually happens, right? You put a black rule about it and you can't really control the flow through the black market that will happen through these things. It's very difficult to control, right? And people will figure a way to do it. So there needs to be a sort of a proactive funding or viability gap funding sort of an arrangement that needs to come into place to help find the new solutions, or tweak this a better, improve the the way that has to be done, which is very, very important. Second, I think this is from an execution point of view. What we have seen in the last many years, the best way of execution is reward and punish. I think this is what is always makes a difference. I think it's a little extreme sides to this thing, but what we see is this is what at the end of the day kind of works, right? So reward where there are great moves happening, good from anybody, right? From the social sector, from people, from resident welfare associations, from NGOs, from corporates, reward that. I think definitely reward the good initiatives. that companies are taking. I think today there was an article in the Mint about all the brands doing 100% EPR last year, which is a great thing, which is there's a lot of promotion and the rewarding that is recognition that's happening for that work. At the same time, punish where the things are not being executed, right? Where, be it at the consumer level, be it at any level, right? Definitely, like, this is not done and on following is not done, have fines in place, because I think that's the way that people will learn over a period of time. I'm adding to what Ashish mentioned as such. I think these are my 2 points.
Thank you, Matthew. And yes, indeed, we need to look at some kind of policy incentives for people switching to alternatives to and SUP items. Then only we can ensure that our people who are in this sector, they don't lose out on their livelihoods, and we do have some kind of alternatives in the market at a scale. Now, Anuragji, I think it's always a very tough time to be the last speaker, because most of the points would have already been said. But I really look forward to more inputs from yours.
मैं भी ऐसा सोच रहा था कि मैथ्यू और आशीष ने जो कंक्लूड किया उसके बाद कुछ शब्द बचा नहीं, पर मैं मेंशन करूं, कभी भी कोई भी मुहिम, कोई भी आंदोलन, कोई भी विचार शुरू होता है तो वो एक विषय के साथ शुरू होकर कि एक टैगलाइन के साथ चलता है। सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक बैन एक टैगलाइन की तरह है, पर जैसे जैसे चीजें आगे बढ़ती है उसको और प्रिसाइज और बहुत क्लियर और बहुत स्टेट करना होता है। अगर नहीं करेंगे तो वो वेग रह जाएगा। लाइक आजादी के आंदोलन के वक्त चलो दिल्ली एक बड़ा बड़ा एक कॉमन वर्ड हुआ, मतलब एक फ्रेज हुआ चलो दिल्ली, पर क्या दिल्ली जाने के बाद, दिल्ली तो इतना बड़ा है, कहाँ जाएंगे आप? दिल्ली मतलब सिर्फ दिल्ली नहीं है ना, दिल्ली मतलब कोई एक पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन होगा। तो वैसे ही सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक बैन अब वो विषय पार हो गया, एक स्टेज पार हो गया। अगले स्टेज पे अपने को स्पेसिफिकली जाना होगा। वी नीड टू द गवर्नमेंट और द अथॉरिटीज हु आर गोइंग टू phase out the material, a particular type of the material, they need to list that material. So as a country, as a citizen of or as a end user, as a household people, as a stakeholder, we all need to know what is actually going to be banned, and this should be listed as a banned product. So अगर अपने को पता हो ये 15 आइटम, ये 15 आइटम्स बैन होंगे, तो वो 15 न्यू आइटम्स बनाना, बेचना, खरीदना, ट्रांसपोर्ट करना, स्टोर करना, हर तरह से बैन हो। सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक इस स्टेज में बोलना थोड़ा सा वेग होगा। अब हम अगले स्टेज पे सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक लिस्टेड मटेरियल्स का लिस्ट डेवलप हो, सीपीसीबी या एमओईएफ या कोई भी अथॉरिटी, स्टेट, सेंटर, रीजनल ऑफिसेज, ब्रांड ओनर्स, सिटीजन्स, हाउस होल्ड्स, बच्चे, पार्क में टोकने वाला वो गार्ड, वो सोसाइटी के बाहर या वो स्वीपिंग करने वाला कोई वेस्ट वर्कर, सबको पता हो कि ये 15 आइटम्स हैं जो बैन हैं, जो कहीं भी दिखेगा और जिसकी हाथ में भी होगा उसको हम दोषी या उसको हम गलती करने वाला माने। ये क्लैरिटी अब अगले स्टेज में अपने को चाहिए होगी। पहला कि हम लिस्ट डेवलप हो, चाहे वो गवर्नमेंट करे या फिर हम जैसे स्टेक होल्डर्स मिलकर वो लिस्ट गवर्नमेंट को प्रपोज करें और ग्रेजुअली वो एक मैच्योर्ड लिस्ट के रूप में क्रिएट हो। पहला, उस लिस्ट के बाहर कोई भी आइटम, चाहे वो सिंगल यूज हो या नहीं हो, वो उस दोष का भागी नहीं बनना चाहिए। कई बार ऐसा होगा कि बहुत सारे आइटम्स होंगे जो कि अगले फेज में फेज आउट होगा, वो सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक हो सकता है पर उसका रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं है, उसका अल्टरनेटिव नहीं है, इसलिए वो फर्स्ट फेज में सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक के फेज आउट फेज में फेज आउट नहीं हो रहा है। इसकी क्लैरिटी अपने को लेनी और देनी होगी सभी लोगों को। सो पहला पॉइंट। दूसरा, उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नेशन वाइड होनी चाहिए। हरियाणा में बैन है और दिल्ली में नहीं है और उत्तर प्रदेश में है और सिक्किम में नहीं है, इससे चीजें बिखरेंगी। सो अभी जुलाई में 2022 में जो बैन की बात है वो नेशन वाइड बैन की बात है। मैं कहूंगा कि चीजें पूरी हो रही हैं, जैसा हम सोच रहे थे वैसा हो रहा है, पर लिस्ट ऑफ आइटम्स भी उतने ही तेजी से, उतनी ताकत के साथ लोगों तक पहुंचना चाहिए वही इंफॉर्मेशन। सर ने बोला कि आईसी अग्रेसिव आईसी एक्टिविटीज हो, IC activity is not for the single-use plastic. IC activity is for that particular list of the materials who are included in this phase. ये होना चाहिए. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, Anuragji, if I could summarize that you elaborated that the need of IC activities should be very, very targeted. We need to communicate to stakeholders that which are the items that are listed so that everyone is aware. There needs to be a consistent and very decisive action across the country. It should not be left to any sort of manipulation or any sort of loopholes to be away from this ban. So thank you for joining in. It has been a very engaging discussion, and it was a privilege to host all the panelists in this panel. We have regret from Mr. Ajit Deshmukh, who is a Deputy Commissioner, Solid Waste Management, Pune, because his uncle has expired and he had to move to his place. So he would not be able to join with us. Mr. Harshadre J. Solanki would be joining us in the next. So thank you. With this, we end this session, and we would take a 2 minutes of break, and we would then initiate our second session. Thank you so much for the panelists.
Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you so much, Ashish sir and Anurag sir, for wonderfully summarizing a lot of points and very practical how we can achieve and we cannot achieve. What are the obstacles ahead? I think this also gives us a lot of opportunity to brainstorm. And as Ashish sir said, it's really a huge task. I mean, banning something overnight, something quite unexpected. I'll take a couple of comments from the chat box. We are very happy to have our participants also sharing your views and comments. Thank you, Manojji, for your comment. Yeah, a couple of questions are there also. We are starch. Okay. Can anyone share if there is any commercially scalable 18 micron thickness compostable BOPP wrapping film producer in the market? So thank you so much. We will do pH enema. We will do this discussion also on that. I also, let me introduce first. Yeah, a couple of more questions maybe I can take. The people who are working in the plastic management business, are they planning to train, teach are they planning to do on the ground level? Yes, very much, Jamia. I think this is a very valid question, and some of our speakers are also talking how they are also working on capacity building. Like Ashish sir was mentioning that they are working with the Delhi Pollution Control Committee in terms of training the people, on ground people. I'll get some chances also. Sure, Mr. Samsuddin. This is Shambhu from Karnataka, right? Okay, so Ashpreet Kaur has a question related to energy. How much plastic we need to burn and energy will come. That we will discuss in our energy session. Waste to energy, that how waste can be converted into energy. Okay, let me introduce the second session. The second session is on citizen participation for effective phase out. For any campaign, it can only be successful when citizen participates in it. And we have some leading on-ground leaders who are working with various self-help groups, very like local people in terms of creating awareness, capacity building, skilling, and making these policies, applicable and implementable on ground. So we will have from a very renowned speaker from CPET. I will request our speakers. I think Amit Dubey sir is already here. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And Natasha ma'am must be here. Yes, Natasha ma'am, welcome. Paramita De has already shared her comment. We'll have her. And we will shortly have Abdul Qadir sir. So, Kamal, if you are ready, then we can move on to our next session.
Yeah. Thank you, Akram. So we are entering into the next session, which is citizen participation for effective phase out of single-use plastic. So during the earlier part of the conference today, we have heard the importance of IC, the awareness creation activities, which I think a lot of organizations are doing at an individual level, and also the solid waste management departments of like the Mumbai Municipal Corporation is doing it in at a scale. Now we are this kind of a conference would not complete if we wouldn't have Indore on the panel, and we have Shri Amit Dubey, who is the project coordinator, Swachh Bharat Mission from Indore Municipal Corporation. Mr. Dubey, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
We have Ms. Natasha Zareen, co-founder and managing director at EcoSattva Environmental Solution. Welcome, Natasha. So we would have panelists. We have Professor Paramita De, who had given her video message to us. She's a head of resource and waste at National Institute of Urban Affairs. So I would first request Akram to just play. Professor De has given her message to us. She is from National Institute of Urban Affairs. Over to Akram.
Akram, Mr. Akram for inviting me to this event to share my views. My apologies for not being able to attend the live session. Now, coming to the topic for discussion today, it is very well known that single-use plastic packaging is mostly light, cheap, flexible, and lasts for thousands of years. However, its low value makes it difficult to recycle and resell, which makes it more susceptible to mismanagement and improper disposal. In recent years, single-use plastic packaging waste has become a major concern. According to the ADB reports in 2015, this accounted for approximately 47% of the plastic waste generated globally. India produces more than 25,000 tons of plastic waste daily, which is nearly 40%, of which nearly 40% is not collected, and this litters the environment. According to the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, MOEFCC, over 34 lakh tons of plastic waste was generated in the financial year 2019-2020, which is an increase of more than 10 lakh tons compared to 2017-18. Now, the recent COVID pandemic, in which we are all reeling, has significantly increased plastic waste. This has stimulated us to review our practices so that we can rebuild better using more sustainable green and resilience model, thereby boosting livelihoods and providing an impetus to innovations in technology. According to me, the following three-pronged approach can propel this transition to a better, plastic-free world. First of all, we need to strengthen the implementation of government policies, regulations, and commitments for a circular economy of plastics. Take, for example, in India, the MOEFCC has announced the notification of the new Plastic Waste Management Amendment Rules 2022 just last month. This year, And the ministry has proposed a blanket ban on various categories of single-use plastic items, among other changes. This amendment rule is a very important step for reducing pollution caused due to littered plastic waste in the country. It provides a framework to strengthen the circular economy of plastic packaging waste. It promotes the development of new alternatives to plastics and provides further next steps for moving towards sustainable plastic packaging by businesses. The EPR guidelines will give a boost to the formulation and further development of the plastic waste management sector. The crux of the EPR is the polluters pay principle. In this case, it aims to hold manufacturers and producers of economically unsustainable plastic items financially and socially accountable for the pollution these materials cause. Now, the second thing, there is a need to boost stakeholder engagement to prevent plastic pollution and introduce circular economy practices. Several alliances and coalitions involving civil society organizations, corporations, waste collectors, recyclers, and governments have been formed at the global level to achieve waste reduction and recycling targets. For example, there's this Alliance to End Plastic Waste, there is an alliance called Break Free from Plastics, and there are many such more. In India, UNDP has created a partnership with Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited, Hindustan Unilever, HDFC Bank, and Coca-Cola India Foundation. The aim of this collaboration was to bring traceability within the system and connect all the stakeholders. UNDP was even facilitated as a key partner by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs as in the Swachh Sarvekshan Awards 2020 under the Swachh Bharat Mission 1.0. Now, we need to do more work on these lines. And thirdly, we need to rethink the current delivery models and invest in innovations, pilots, and demonstration projects. And of course, these need to be scaled up fast. For example, in the FMCG sector, the packaging can be done in such a way that they are packed into reusable or repurposed containers in contrast to single-use plastic bottles or sachets. One can explore options for reverse logistic services, which are designed to return used goods and packaging back to the business or retailers and owners to a destination that captures value or responsibly disposes of the products and materials. The next thing is that we need to enforce strict EPR or extended producer responsibility by mandating and adopting of EPR plan by engaging the electronics, automobile, and packaging industry. This will require the producers to establish a system for recycling used or end-of-life products by themselves or by third parties. There's a need to develop a robust tracking mechanism and provide oversight of compliance to waste management rules and regulations. It is also vital to build an incentive-based structure around this to ensure better compliance by producers. Just to give you a few examples, the Hyatt Regency in Delhi, for example, they announced the launch of its in-house water bottling plant. This fully automated water bottling plant aims to end the use of approximately 1 million plastic bottles a year by switching to reusable glass bottles. And this process saves about 28 tons of plastic waste every year. Another example is that of Nestle. Nestle, as you all know, is one of the largest food and beverages companies. And this company has committed that 100% of its packaging will be recyclable or reusable by 2025. They have made a number of global commitments, including the elimination of non-recyclable plastics. In 2019, about 87% of the total packaging by weight and 66% of the total plastic packaging was recyclable or reusable. Now, this sets a very good trend for others to follow. And I would like to end with an example of what we are doing at the National Institute of Urban Affairs. We try to preach what we practice. So just to give you an example of what we did lately, just before the pandemic, we completed 154 workshops as part of the capacity building initiatives of the Swachh Bharat mission. We took care to ensure the use of upcycled and recycled products during the course of the workshops. The workshops were emphasized, in the workshops, we emphasized eliminating single-use plastics. So we use glass bottles, we use file covers made of paper. As a token of appreciation, we gave resource persons felicitations and mementos, which were made from recycled materials. We gave them plants. The certificates and awards that we gave were also prepared from recycled paper. So I would like to end by saying that given the enormity and exigency of the plastic crisis today, the governance around management of plastic waste will have to be more and more rigorous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Come on. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So it was heartening to note that the National Institute of Urban Affairs had been taking efforts around it, and I think with CPCB coming out with the online portal and digital e-governance into the picture, I think most of the issues would be resolved. And now I would invite Dr. M. Abdul Qadir, Principal Director and Head, CPIT, IPT, Ahmedabad. Welcome, Dr. Qadir, to this session. We have this Western region specific conference on single-use plastic, and with CPIT is the government body to undertake research work. We would like to understand from you that where are we today? Because this conference is attended by people from different walks of life. They may not be really knowing the nuances around plastics, but since your organization is working, doing research on plastics, so where are we headed to? What are your take in terms of India notifying some single-use plastic items, and then how does it is going to help us, and what are the alternatives that you think are in the pipeline, and where does the research stands? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kamal Sharma, for introducing me nicely. So I represent the CPET. The name itself has the plastic in its title. So I need to have some positive I need to tell something about the positive aspect of plastics also. At the same time, how we can alleviate the problem which are generated through a particular section of plastics which is going into the landfill and thereby creating a lot of issues. So if you see that now, plastic has become inseparable part of our life. We use from the morning to night in different forms and different shapes and different applications. So now people feel that if they are asked to completely omit or stop using the plastics in their life, it is very difficult now. So we have been given taste of using something for comfort, and that is now become part of the life. So now the issue comes when how we are handling the plastics, how we are going to effectively utilize the plastics. So when plastic came, there was no such a resistance that it should not be used. And that over the period of time, when it is going to be a nuisance from the point of public as well as from the point of government, with respect to the use and their disposal. So obviously it is understood that plastic is not a degradable material. The intent for making plastic is to make it to be useful for long life. So obviously the chemical structure and then the scientific principle says that plastic is not a degradable material. It will be stay there for decades and then even centuries. It will be there. But how to make use of these plastics again and again. That's what the things will come, and then technologies are needed for such a things. So from the CPET, we also do a lot of research on the development of newer plastics for very specific application, ranging from the normal use to the what you call the advanced use, which are for the electronics, telecommunication, aerospace, and the composites having the strength equivalent to the metals and other things. So those things, researches are going on towards the development. At the same time, we do research on how to recycle effectively the plastics which are gone out of the end use, or it has gone to the the landfill, or before landfill it is going after completing it life cycle. That is one way. And second recycling process, we always carry out the pre-consumer waste, which are generated from the industries which has some virgin properties. Those things are also, we are doing a lot of things. And in this, the technologies which are being implemented in the case of recycling, though there are so many methods are available, chemical recycling, mechanical recycling, and also getting energy through the tertiary and quaternary type of recycling, everything where we have been doing. But the technology what we have present in our country is not so adequate to satisfy or make suitable for the recycling technologies. So it starts from the collection, segregation, and cleaning, washing, and then coming to the specific product, specific material, plastic categories, and then finally converting them into either product or granules, which may be further processed for getting a products. And the technology we lack in the case of segregation and sorting, where the advanced countries are having the new technology, where the plastic can be segregated based on their density, based on the KL, based on the chemical nature, using different methodologies and technologies. That is happening. But right now, we in the technologies using near infrared technologies, where it can be segregated based on the colors and then densities, and using there's magnetic separation. Many more technologies we need to follow. This is one way. And second way, in order to prevent the plastics coming into the mainstream for large quantum of use, where there is a problem of degradation and the recycling, it is also preferred to have a kind of plastics which may undergo the biodegradation or composting or similar kind of plastics, which are all given a specific scientific input for their programming, like the polymer molecules might be made with the programming so that it will have a period of life for a certain time, maybe 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, that can be programmed. So that research is also going on in this direction. Other than that, if you talk about the end use, that is the end of life plastics, how to recycle in that way, and also before going to the end of cycle, how the material which are termed as a single-use plastics, which cannot come into the mainstream later on. And government has given the, or what you call in the new plastic waste management rule, that the thickness of the plastic should be minimum 120 micron from July 1st onwards. So in that case, the existing processor who are manufacturing the plastic bags or plastic packaging material, they need to be sensitized with what kind of technology which will be available in the future for making the thick plastic films, so that they will not face any kind of technological problem in their manufacturing. CPET is also providing support for the technology development for converting the existing machine which are designed for making a thin film plastics, which can be modified with some process parameters or design parameters, or kind of modification which needs machine needs, so that that same machine can be utilized for making bigger. There is a thick plastics which will satisfy the plastic waste management rule. So those things are also we are taking care, and in fact we are conducting seminar in the case of what you call the alternative material for the plastics, so the single-use plastics, so that the benefits of plastic can be retained. At the same time, the nuisance of plastic from the packaging material can be alleviated or removed. So these are the research activities that CPET is carrying out with the support of ministries and funding agencies, and also private agencies who are interested for developing biodegradable plastics. So many industries are approaching for biodegradable plastic testing as per the ISO 17088. We are doing the testing support for those companies and certify them if the product is compostable as per the ISO standard of 180 days, by having a controlled amount of cellulose. So those supports we are providing, and some parties are also coming with innovative ideas for developing the biodegradable plastics from the biosources which are available. So that type of support we are also doing. So in this aspect, we are also concentrating on the product design aspects of the plastic, so that their end use will be limited for a certain period, or there will be an alternate material from the biosources which will substitute with the conventional plastic which are derived from the petroleum sources, which has the limitation of biodegradation. So in all these aspects, CPET is supporting the general consumer, manufacturer, producer for getting some betterment in their aspects. So I think that the information regarding the CPET activities may help the audience here. And if they need support for this kind of activity, they can approach the CPET. And we are also the part of mainstream the program of the plastic waste management. We have Government of India, our ministry has given fund for setting up of 4 exclusive center for plastic waste management in Ahmedabad, then Bangalore, and in near that, that is in Patna, and one more place. So the 4 places, the center will come for giving the technology support for the plastic recycler for managing the plastics. So with this, I thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity for discussing about CPET role in plastic waste management. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for elaborating all the actions that CPET is undertaking. And it's heartening to note that CPET is not only undertaking research around the plastics, but also having policies for incentivizing to switching over to a more sustainable kind of a packaging. So thank you, sir. We would now invite Ms. Natasha Zarif, co-founder and managing director at EcoSattva. Natasha, are you there? You can switch on your yeah.
Thank you.
So
yes, thank you for having me. Thank you, Kamal, for having me here. Thanks to Akram as well. It's been I've been listening to the conversations in the previous panel, and it's been a really rich discussion, specifically on recycling and recycling technologies. I would like to focus on what Dr. Kader just mentioned. The challenge of collection post-consumer waste, and that's waste plastic. That's the part that I want to focus on. Of course, I've been briefed and called onto this program to talk about how a kind of citizen engagement program has moved into the whole waste management space. So I will give a brief background on that, and then go more into how we are tackling plastic waste and what the challenges are. So briefly, my co-founder and I, Gauri Mirashi and me, we started with trying to understand the challenge of waste management in our city. That's how it started. The idea was to collect data on this. This was in 2013-14, to understand why we had waste being dumped at street corners, waste in our drains and rivers and water bodies, waste being burnt, then waste being collected and taken to a larger place and dumped and burned. So this was the larger challenge that we wanted to understand, and we wanted to break down the pieces to find where the gaps were and what the solution could be. So we started with no agenda, with just wanting to understand the challenge and then build solutions, and build them in partnership with the municipal body. So the main stakeholder in handling waste post-consumer plastic waste or any kind of waste is the municipal body or the Gram Panchayat or the government. And they've been doing this for decades, right? So the idea was to understand the challenge even from the government's perspective. And so we began our study, and we found out the problems with collection, effective doorstep collection of segregated waste at source, and setting up that system first. Thereafter, the transportation from primary collection to secondary collection. How do you transport it effectively in a segregated manner? Then resource recovery. How do you set up facilities to recover the resources from the waste once they're segregated? And eventually monitoring the entire process. And then, of course, plugging in technology wherever needed. So we have what we've called the BOTRAM process that we've developed, first working in Aurangabad city and then in multiple other smaller cities and towns. And then we also implemented it in Buenos Aires in Argentina and Denpasar in Bali. So, and the idea was to look at waste management as a holistic, to look at it holistically. It's not about just plastic waste. It's about how to get to that plastic waste. We need to ensure that our waste management systems are effective. And that's how we started working on the ground in first one neighborhood, then a ward, then a township, then Aurangabad city, then Vaijapur, Ratnagiri, smaller cities and towns. And like I said, even in Buenos Aires and Bali. It's a systems challenge which needs a systems solution. So while trying to handle plastic waste, we need to make sure that we're looking at waste management, especially post-consumer plastic waste. We need to make sure we're looking at plastic waste management holistically. We need to partner with government bodies. They've been doing this. Their Safai Karmacharis have been working day in, day out. We need to, as us, we partner with the municipal body to organize the primary collection, doorstep collection, to ensure it goes from a dumping point collection to now a household, level doorstep collection system. Then you have to have awareness campaigns and IEC campaigns that are actually effective and get real behavior change. 3 kinds of behavior change done at the household level. Segregation of waste at source into 3 to 4 categories. Keeping your waste with yourself and giving it only to the Safai Karmachari or the Ghanta Gadi and not throwing it at a formal or informal street corner dumping point. And the third would be being respectful to the Safai Karmachari, because now they are going to refuse to take mixed waste. If the third one is not done effectively, you will have conflict, breaking out all across the city. I think a lot of cities have shown that many cities have shown, but there are lots more who are not able to do this because they need that support and hand-holding. And this is where really EPR and plastic waste management rules and PIBOs and all should really be jumping in to support the municipal bodies to strengthen their abilities to provide doorstep collection of segregated waste at source. Just posters and banners and advertisements here and there don't have the kind of effect that actually on-ground support does. So that's the other thing that we need to make sure that we're able to do. And for post-consumer plastic waste. So the challenge comes in segregation of waste at source, and organizations like mine and many others have shown that it is definitely possible to enable this, to get this done. The other challenge is changing the collection system from a dumping point to dumping point collection into a doorstep collection of segregated waste. The vehicle needs to be ready, the Safai Karmacharis need to be ready, the system needs to be ready to be able to handle primary collection of waste, segregated waste, and then the secondary collection also, the transportation, the middle point where a lot of mixing happens. That's when you can get that plastic clean and you can get it out of the waste stream sooner, so therefore it can go into the whole circular economy faster and reduce the amount of transportation required. And of course, then comes the sorting, the material recovery facilities that need to be set up ideally within the cities with very less transportation from the household to the MRFs, so that you're preventing emissions also. So that's another thing that's really important to get done. Then there's the sorting. That's where the informal sector must be incorporated. And we talk about plastic waste management and EPR and all, using all the jargon of different technologies and different PIBOs and all, and we're leaving out the informal sector that has been the backbone of recycling so far. And I'm not saying that they need to be considered out of humanitarian grounds. I am saying that they are a resource, they're a network, they're absolutely a strength in plastic waste management and implementing EPR. We should be incorporating them and taking them along in whatever systems that we're planning. So incorporation of the informal sector is absolutely essential, especially at the MRFs and at the resource recovery phase. And then, of course, we need to have forward linkages with recyclers. If this system is set, then we can really focus on the different technologies and how to improve the resource recovery from the materials that we've collected. But we have to ensure that we have segregated plastics and overall dry waste collected, because we have that will also help us solve the challenge of fabrics, which may not be covered under plastic waste management rules right now or under EPR right now, but they do have a large polymer content. So, we'll be sorting that problem, sanitary waste, etc. So we have to take a holistic approach. We have to partner with government bodies at the city and Gram Panchayat level. We have to make sure that our solution is equitable and inclusive, because otherwise we'll try to solve one problem and create another one. There are almost, the estimates are that between 1.5 to 4 million people in India are working in the informal space in waste collection. And also I would like to mention here the way the formal Safai Karmacharis work. Even that needs to change. If they're collecting mixed waste, they're using their hands a lot more. They're close to a lot more hazardous waste. If it is segregated, then the Safai Karmacharis' working conditions are also improved. And this is absolutely essential when we're talking about plastic waste management, when we're talking about solving problems and circular economy and all that. We have to be considering the people who are working to actually make this happen on ground. So any solution that does not take into account the requirement of Safai Karmacharis, formal, and waste pickers who are maybe informal, is an incomplete solution and might be causing another problem and a bigger one. The Swachh Bharat Mission and Majhi Vasundhara programs, these are absolutely powerful, helpful. They're pushing municipal bodies to take on these. Previously, this was all being done as informal, as civil society organizations like ours or other organizations who are trying to get some change done in their cities and towns. Now there's institutional backing for it, and that's a great thing and needs to be harnessed further. I would say we should focus. Sorry, we should focus on. Okay. I would say that we should be focusing on a few cities in each state, figuring and of different scales. So plastic waste management, overall waste management in Mumbai will be different from that in a smaller city like Aurangabad, which will be very different from what it will be in a smaller town like Vijaypur, and then in Gram Panchayats. We have to understand the challenge and build solutions that would work across different scales and not just talk about the large metropolises. So that's the other piece, and we specifically work in medium and smaller size cities as well. And EPR is a powerful tool again that can enable effective waste management. First, focusing on the plastics that are not recyclable. And of course, this is where traceability is absolutely essential. So our solutions work on Nivartha, can you please put yourself on mute? Maybe I'll mute you. Thank you. So, sorry, we need to be able to look at the challenge holistically. I think that's where I'll end. Technology can be plugged in at the right place. EPR is a helpful financial tool that is enabling the recovery of much more of the reject plastics and the low value plastics that were otherwise, at our centers, taking up the majority space because they're very voluminous, and didn't have a solution for processing. So co-processing is great. Now we're having recycling solutions also for the low-value plastics, and that's wonderful. But like I said, for EPR, for plastic waste management, we have to look at overall solid waste management in cities, towns, and villages, and we have to take a holistic, systemic approach, partnering with government bodies, partnering with grassroots organizations, enabling best practices in at least a few cities completely, and then scaling that across other ULBs. And that's what we do. I was told, we started as 2 individuals trying to understand the challenge on ground, and we've grown to now a team of, I think, 68 people working full time across 18 different geographies. And while we're doing plastic waste management and EPR, we're working mainly as an entire how to set up entire systems for urban local bodies in waste management. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Natasha, for your elaborated context on how things are implemented on ground and how your organization is working. Now, I would just ask Mr. Amit Dubey. Mr. Dubey, are you there? You can unmute yourself. Mr. Dubey from Indore Municipal Corporation. Have you joined back from your meeting? Okay, so might be his meeting is taking a long time. So I would now request Mr. Debartha Banerjee, co-founder and director, Sampoorn Earth. Debartha, can you switch on your camera and unmute?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, Debartha.
Just a second. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, very clearly.
Yes. Thank you. Good to see you, Kamal, again.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Debartha, as you know, that the flow of the session is taking us through the various, enablers or the kind of, the mechanics of the EPR right now, and also now, I would like to take the session back to the point where we want to have a discussion on, which is about citizen participation for effective phase out of single-use plastic. So if we look at the mechanics of plastic waste collection in the country, and your organization is working on collection and channelizing of plastic waste, what are the things that you think would help to engage citizens? Because here we need to have some kind of way forward how to engage with citizens for effective phase out. Whether it's, so what are the via medias or the kind of channels that you think would be helpful for us? Over to you, Debartha.
Right. Thank you. I think it's a very important thing right now to understand like how the behavioral changes, like it's changing the mindset of the people. But when we see as waste management, like it's very difficult to see there's a particular, I'd say, stakeholder as citizens only. Like we need to see the overall chain in entirety, basically. So when we have been into the space for the last 10 odd years, and we have been seeing that waste management can't really be defined by the waste generators, but the waste collectors, where it's getting processed. And now with now that we are seeing that most of the FMCGs and the global brands talking about using recycled plastics into their products, where it's not only one time but in a circular way, like how this collection systems and this systems is going to work on, basically. So we have been primarily working in different material recovery facilities in the country, where we have been engaging with the citizens, like how to segregate waste and how to recover. but a lot of work is towards the collection mechanism as well. So we have seen in Mumbai and many other cities where um, housing societies have started segregation of waste, but we have not seen them collected separately. Most of the times they have been taken together and sent to the same landfills as well. So, and this is mostly with the low value recyclables and the one time use stuff which actually nobody collects. Um, so, so having said that, we have been, when we work with communities, we also work with how the collection mechanism is going to work, be it with the municipal corporation or the ULBs, like how do we encourage them, like how to separately collect that waste, or to create separate collection channels by primarily engaging the informal waste markets. So I was hearing Natasha repeatedly saying that how the informal waste markets actually is a resource to the country, rather than it's not only on the humanitarian grounds that they need to be engaged, but how as resources they can be brought into the overall ecosystem. And that's what we have been attempting at many places. So at many places, we have been forming groups of workers in self-help groups who have been engaged in collection of waste from doorsteps, as well as in the further processing and recycling ecosystem part of it. So it is also, I think, a primary thing to understand that in the last few years, as there are lots of policies, and we are seeing lots of formalized companies getting into the space of into EPR or setting up centralized waste management facilities or coming up with different services. Actually, the informal waste markets who have been doing this for many decades right now have not really got any benefit of the new policies which have been coming up. So while many companies are moving towards better collection and recovery targets under EPR, or municipal corporations achieving better collection and recovery rates, the people actually on the ground have not any sustainable changes in their livelihood, or any qualitative improvement of their life has not been happening. So I think it's also very important that while we solve the collection and recovery, which is very important to understand how the single-use plastics will be phased out and new kinds of plastics, which is recycled, will be introduced in the market. It's also very important that the current set of people are engaged, enrolled, and being made into a participative format inside the whole thing. So our effort has been mostly towards that. Few of our projects in Goa, which Niti Aayog has also talked about in their recent Waste-Wise Cities report, where they have talked about how plastic waste management has been worked on the cooperative movement of organizing people on ground and giving back the value what they deserve. So while they are given the access to the waste, at the same time, from plastic to granules, or products, recycled products, the value addition which is happening, they are also part of that. And we are finding good success over there, where we are able to scale up as well as partner with such organizations. So we are looking for more such partnerships, and I think I think that will be the crux of my thing, that the huge set of people in India, it is estimated that 2 to 3% of our urban population is actually engaged in waste collection informally. So it's also very important that how they are organized and how they're brought into the system, into developing this. So when tomorrow a big brand like Unilever or Coca-Cola starts using recycled polymers, they can also ensure that how that waste has been collected, whether it's been collected through any child waste pickers, or it's been collected directly from source to formalized workforce who have better safety insurances and better access to waste, is also a thing that we need to ensure.
Thank you, Debarta. So yes, you and Natasha, I think very well elaborated the need for engaging with the informal sector because of the continuity of their livelihood, and when it comes to collection, from the usability perspective, I would like to understand your views that the kind of single-use plastic items that have been prioritized by MOFCC for phase out, do you think that there is going to be a challenge to those people who are on ground? Because these kind of plastic items mostly are either not being collected, or they don't have any further recycling avenues to go for, except for waste to energy. So and many of them are like styrofoam cup plates, cutlery items. What is your take, whether those informal sectors are going to be impacted by this, or it is not their cup of tea, or they don't just pick these up from the waste? Over to you.
Yes, I think it's not a very so even in the single use, there are different categories of waste. Something which is high weight and more in density are things which is actually collected. But it's also important to understand that that the way that they have been collected at this point of time is in a very messy situation. So most of the times they get a very small time to recover the waste that they can. When they would work in the landfills, the waste pickers, or even on the roadsides, they will mostly target something which is of higher value, and that will be the main target for them. But by setting up material recovery facilities, we have seen that that when the waste is segregated at source, and waste can come in a more formalized manner, actually a lot more categories are actually recyclable, and which is generally not collected. So I can tell you from our example in Goa, where most of the waste, so before we started intervening in this project in Bicholim, 100% of the waste, the dry waste which was coming over there, was sent for incineration, for waste to energy. And after our intervention, which also generated a good amount of employment, we could see that 70% of the waste which actually we could recover and take it to recycling. So out of which 100% was going to waste to energy, 70% which we could bring back into the ecosystem. And that is some, and I think the number is going up as we are so I think a lot of the thing lies in how the waste is collected at source, like segregated at source, how it is brought to a proper collection system is applied to it, how then recovery mechanisms are applied to it. So based on that, I think the recycling rates can definitely go up, and this is also going to increase the jobs in and that's where I think again the informal markets can actually be brought in as resources which can create jobs for this set of people. And this is actually, I can tell you, like even under the EPR programs where we send a lot of waste to cement factories, and we send a few thousand tons across the country. Now there is a realization that actually a huge percentage actually we can take out from that there and divert towards circularity, and a lot of our effort is actually going towards that direction. So I think that's how I'd say. So I think a formalization and different stakeholders coming to a same value system where the local ULB also takes strong decisions can actually move us towards situations where even a lot of the current single-use plastics, which are labeled as single-use, can actually come under recovery and recycling. While few are definitely there which cannot be taken care, which has to be taken to the waste to energy, but a good portion actually can be started recovery.
Thank you. Thank you, Debata. We have now Mr. Rakesh Mishra, Head Mishra Traders. Mr. Mishra, welcome to the panel. You can switch on your camera and unmute yourself.
Namaskar. Akram ji, namaskar. Kamal sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, Mr. Mishra. Welcome back. We missed you in our last session, and I was hoping that this time we could hear you. Thank you for joining in. Akram had gone for his prayer meeting of Friday, So I'm here. Thank you for joining in this session. So Mishra ji, अपना ये जो session है, it is about citizen participation for effective phase out of single-use plastic. So your organization is on ground day in, day out for waste management. Government of India has prioritized. I mean, I have asked this question to other panelists, and we would also love to hear from you that with Government of India prioritizing certain plastic use items, which are mostly the commoditized item, like cutleries, single-use cutleries, and all that, cup plates, and all that. So, what is your experience in terms of getting? Do you think that these kind of products, if coming out under plastic waste, would have any value to any informal sector or a formal sector, or they were just strayed in the environment and not being collected? Some insights from your side. Yeah.
धन्यवाद। सबसे मेन कमल जी, जो आज की सिचुएशन में देखिए, पहले के जो गांव होते थे, गांव से लेकर के शहर तक, जब से ये आधुनिकीकरण और शहरीकरण हुआ, लोगों को ये लगा कि नहीं, ये चीजें बहुत अच्छी है, तुरंत यूज करो, तुरंत रखने में भी सारी चीजें बहुत व्यवस्थित रूप से। लेकिन आप देखिए, पुराना जो भारत था, गांव में जो बसता था, वहां पे ये सारी चीजों को मतलब मटके से लेकर, मतलब कोई भी चीज ऐसी उपयोग में ही नहीं ली जाती थी। लेकिन वर्तमान में ये परिदृश्य आता है कि अब तो शहर से ज्यादा गांव में सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक का चलन हो गया। गांव के लोग अब तो धीरे धीरे अवेयर हो रहे हैं। लेकिन अब गांव में, चूंकि वो लोग उतना ज्यादा पढ़े लिखे नहीं होते, उतनी सारी चीजें उनके पास संचार के साधन नहीं है, तो जो पुराना भारत था उसमें मिट्टी के बर्तन उपयोग करना, के फंक्शन में पत्तल का, ये सारी चीजें होती थी। अब हम आधुनिक हो चुके हैं, नहीं हमारे यहाँ जो है तो ये सारी चीज। अच्छा, जो व्यक्ति अपने प्रकृति से साथ छोड़ देगा वो तो दिक्कत में आएगा। और रह गई सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक। सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को सबसे पहले मैं तो चाहता हूं कि सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक बैन हो और अच्छी तरह से बैन हो। ये केवल कागजी नहीं कि कागज में घोड़ा चल दिया, इसको वेस्ट में अगर अपन पूरी तरह से बंद कर दे और लोगों को अवेयर कर कि भाई पुनः फिर आइए मिट्टी के बर्तन का इस्तेमाल करना, चाय की दुकानों में और जितना भी है, इस टाइप का अगर यूज करेंगे तो काफी हद तक। और अब तो वेस्ट तो कुछ रहा ही नहीं। जो सरकार, भारत सरकार ने भी जो बहुत सारे निर्णय लिए, अब तो वेस्ट तो कुछ है ही नहीं। सारी चीजों का पुनः उपयोग हो सकता है, चाहे वो सड़कों से लेकर के हो या कि टाइल्स में हो, पेवर ब्लॉक्स में हो, या सर अब तो कुछ रहा, अब तो सब कीमत इनकी बढ़ चुकी है। अब समस्या कहाँ आती है? सबसे मेन जो इसका कलेक्शन का सिस्टम है। अगर कलेक्शन का सिस्टम हमारा अच्छा हो जाए, भाई किसी भी सोसाइटी से जो भी कचरा निकलता है वहां से वो निकले और प्रॉपर वे पे वहीं पे सेग्रीगेट हो, और सेग्रीगेट होकर के वो रिसाइकिल में तुरंत चला जाए। मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले समय में, और वर्तमान में बहुत सारे लोग एमएलपी का भी उपयोग करते हैं, रिसाइकलिंग में भी लगा रहे हैं, नहीं लगा रहे हैं। जैसे सपोज दैट कोई भी आइटम बना रहे हैं तो 100 किलो अगर बनाए तो 90 किलो के साथ में 10 किलो का मटेरियल वो एमएलपी भी डाल रहे हैं। तो मुझे तो लगता है कि जो दौर आ रहा है वो पूरी तरह से रिसाइकलिंग में आना चाहिए और धीरे धीरे चीजें खत्म हो जाएंगी। और बहुत सारी चीजें तो हमारे जो पैनलिस्ट थे उन्होंने सारी चीजें बताई, और वही चीजें मैं क्या बार बार बोलूं। मुझे लगता है कि मेरे हिसाब से रिसाइकलिंग की ओर जाना चाहिए, और सबसे बड़ा पार्ट है इसका सेग्रीगेशन का। सेग्रीगेशन में ही आना चाहिए। जैसे मटेरियल सेग्रीगेट हो और तुरंत वो रिसाइकलिंग में या को प्रोसेसिंग में चला जाएगा, तो मुझे लगता है कि प्लास्टिक पूरी तरह से धीरे धीरे खत्म होगा।
Yeah, thank you. You are to the point, sir, and it is very important to note that people's behavior needs to be changed. The way both urban and rural behavioral change has been towards convenience, because convenience has been something which is driving the utilization or consumption of these single-use cutleries. But yes, as we move along, we need to look at the alternatives and sensitize people towards more sustainable consumption. So, Mr. Dubey, thank you for joining back. You have back-to-back meetings and you have been busy, but still, thank you so much for joining in. Mr. Dubey, over to you now. Indore is a leader in Swachh Sarvekshan, continuously back-to-back, delivering that kind of a result which many other states would aspire to.
मैं भी अपने आप को सौभाग्यशाली मानता हूं कि मध्य प्रदेश में इंदौर शहर मेरे प्रदेश का है.
Very nice, sir. Very nice. So, Mr. Dubey, over to you. Your intervention in terms of what all Indore has been doing along creating sensitization, how you have been able to crack this code of citizen participation, because this is the one key area which every city would like to crack a code. Yes, you have a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And like Indore achieved several milestones within a very small span of time period. And the journey start from 2016, and then it's continued to achieve several milestones again and again. And each milestone motivate Indore citizens to get another. So, but before moving forward, I would like to introduce, discuss with the challenges we have faced in solid waste management. So, under Swachh Bharat Mission, IMC plan to take initiatives in solid waste management, and we have created our mottos like bin free, litter free, and dust free. And so for those challenges, in 2015, prior to 2015, IMC lacking in infrastructure, waste management system, and municipal staff, sanitation staff, and also the support from the ministry, from support from the citizens and the communities. So, can we discuss, like in short, what are the key challenges? So one of the various challenges like we have, lack of waste management infrastructure. We can see that large number of container bins and the legacy waste dumped around the commercial areas and the residential areas. And we have legacy waste of hundreds of years of legacy waste around our processing plants. And we don't have such kind of processing facilities around cities. And we have a very bad shapes, residential and commercial areas. We have like deterioration in green belt across the city. We don't have a community collection system in place, and the system is almost collapsed at that time. And because of those those challenges, Indore Municipal Corporation got clarification from the High Court that a PIL is established at that time. So and also like we have a very around more than 60 water bodies around the cities, and they all are polluted with the solid waste municipal solid waste. So these are the challenges we cope with in 2016. But we strategically created our plan, and moving forward step by step. And for that, like in 2015 to 16, we initially set up our infrastructure first. So that's a very important point for that time, that infrastructure and the system of collection of solid waste management is crucial. And then we established our collection or segregation system in 2015 or 16. Then we moved toward the capacity building of municipal staff. So these are the first step toward the solid waste management. And then in 2016 onward, we extensively doing our IEC and BCC activities to create large number of awareness program among the citizens about how to deal with the solid waste, municipal solid waste. And we targeted actually several communities like RWA, commercial establishments. And to target those communities, we empaneled around 5 to 6 NGOs to connect with the citizens. And these are the previous our efforts. But now in 2020, our efforts are entirely different toward what we are done in the previous. Like now we are moving toward the zero waste wards, air quality, plastic ban, single-use plastic ban actually, and the technology interventions, segregation in 3 bins to 6 bins at source, and zero visibility of black and gray water, and river rejuvenation. So these kind of initiative we are able to take because of our initial steps we have taken previously. So, but all these efforts is only are the efforts if until we didn't find the political willingness there. So we have those kind of support in Indore. We have citizen support, citizen participation. We have political willingness, and these are the some initiatives we have taken in 2015 and 16. And for effective door-to-door collection, we have created separate fleet system for the separate for the different waste collection system. And we have our 6 type of segregation, source segregation collection system in place. And we have community participation, 100% community participation, that every day around 530,000 households segregate their waste in 6 types of waste. And they give those segregated waste in our vehicles by itself. Like nobody going to take those bins and they collect from the household. So entire system is dependent on the citizen participation only. And because of the citizen participation, we are able to innovate many things in the solid waste management. So why we discussing all these things is because while we are talking about the plastic ban, we required such kind of community participation, which can able you to do innovations in the discard of the plastic usage. So we very initially take the single-use plastic ban initiative, and we plan to organize various awareness activities and related to plastic ban only. But now in the last year, we issued a gadget notification through state about the 75 micron use, sale, and storage of and transportation of the single-use plastic ban. So we notified the plastic ban. Then we have created a large number of IC awareness activities. And at the same time, after awareness, if people are not supporting our initiative, we do a very large spot fines and penalties activities We have a very big number of bill collectors who are doing these kind of things, and then promotion of suitable alternatives of SUP. So we created this kind of thing to discard the plastic waste from our community. So to encourage more number of peoples, we issued a large number of notifications in the newspapers, and we release many notifications through our websites, and then we created many SOPs for the disposable free markets, for the RWAs, and for the chart chaupatis, and many other like zero waste wards. So we created a large number of SOPs for them also. And from where we can we get these motivations. So we have 3R declaration. We have 8th UN Regional 3R Forum in Asia and Pacific region workshop in 2018, and 3R. So from that workshop, Indore created a large number of awareness activities on 3R, which includes the plastic ban itself. So we plan two-pronged strategies. First is awareness activities, and then promoting 3R activities. So we created these kind of initially in 2018 onward. We created Bartan banks. We initiated citizen-led initiatives like reusable kit, BYR, #BYR, led by the Janak Palta ma'am, who is carrying always their bag in which they have all type of cutleries. So she is a brand ambassador for #BYR campaign, which is almost 3 years old campaign for Indore itself. And then very recently, for this year, we created a campaign called Main Hu Jholadari Indori, where we collected cloth from the households. We make jhola at various squares, and the collector and MPs and other celebrities come at those centers and seeing the bags at that place with the help of NGOs and the self-help groups. And then we distributed those jholas with a minimum price, 1 or 2 rupees, to the citizens, to create awareness that single-use plastic discard is necessary. So while giving the jhola, we pass on the message as well. So this campaign very successfully run in the Indore. So Indore continuously doing innovations in the field of these kind of activities. So zero waste events we have created since 2018. So Ashra Mubarak campaign, Ashra Mubarak is Bora Samaj largest gathering in Indore in 2018 itself, and it's 100% plastic, single-use plastic free campaign event. Then Jatra is the continuous campaign happening in every year, and it's a 100% zero waste event itself, a community itself doing the zero waste events. And the IPL matches, if we have some IPL matches, it's completely zero waste, single-use plastic zero waste events. Then recently we have hosted a Swachhta Prerna Mahotsav led by the state government, which is the India's largest zero waste event, and no single-use item is used at that place, and around 1,000 members, participants, have attended that campaign. like we have a very innovative plastic Premier League in 2019, and we created four teams from FM channels, NGOs, and cricketers, and this campaign is like for to discard the plastic, single-use plastic from discard use of single-use plastic from the citizens. So these unique campaigns like FM channels, NGOs, and cricketers created a very huge mass movements within the commercial and the public areas, and they collected around 50 tons of single-use plastic from the household and commercial places. People donated them to that with the oath that they are not using these single-use plastic. So, and yes, it's another example of what we are doing in discarding the single-use plastic is disposable free market. This year we created some awareness activities with the help of NGOs and volunteers who are working in the field of plastic ban. So we created a ban which is already notified, and then we created a SOP. Then with the help of NGOs, we created a mass moment with all the commercial shops, and then we analyzing the waste they generated, and consultation workshops we had done, and then after 4 to 5 days of consultation meetings and discussion with the shopkeepers, they itself declare that their market as zero disposable free market, and then IMC sent their team to declare disposable free market by their own, like from the municipal corporation. It's declared as a disposable free market. So disposable free market means no single-use plastic used for consume food or carrying the articles, and these kind of things we created, and people are come up with the solutions as well, like some dish steel utensils are replaced with the single-use plastic, and then dish cleaning machines with the help of self-help group. These kind of ideas come up and implemented in the disposable free market. So many innovations is also seen while we are working on disposable free markets. So these are some process like we identified and survey, then reduction of waste we calculated, and every shop owners place a sticker, Meri Dukaan, Sabse Swachh Dukaan stickers, and proudly they announced their market as a disposable free market. So these are some SOPs which we distributed to all the shopkeepers and the associations. So these are some initiatives, and lastly, for those community initiatives, we very rigorously doing the inspections and the spot finds. So we identified many plastic come from the Maharashtra, and we track them, and we seize all those plastic and directly send it to our MRF plants for the recycling units. So we are doing these kind of things very rigorously, and we identified those stockists and the other shopkeepers as well, who are selling below 75 micron plastic in the market. So these are our initiatives for the time being, and we are planning moving toward 125 micron, 150 micron for the next year, for this year itself. And we plan many new initiatives, including our Jhola banks and other type of initiatives that we scale up in the next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey. This is very elaborate, presentation that you have made, and I think it was really heartening to note that Indore. I mean, these are the reasons that why Indore is #1 today. You have engaged very structurally with all the stakeholders. The community participation is at the core of the solid waste management system in Indore, and I think that's the beauty of it. There are a couple of questions to you that are coming up from the panelists, and I would like to pick up one that there's a question that what Delhi NCR can learn from Indore. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. So, because Delhi NCR is struggling in the source segregation itself. So,
yeah.
First of all, they need to focus on the source segregation from each household. So, it's a very important point. Because source segregation, if each and every household is doing source segregation every day, that means your citizen participation is 100%. So from there, you can move to other initiatives. So like in Indore, every day people are coming and discussing the same issues and the same initiatives like we have taken. But what we like here, the people are saying that you need to involve each and every household first, then you can initiate take many other initiatives after the source segregation only. So here in Indore, what we told to other people from the cities, coming from other cities, that the solid waste management, source segregation is the soul of solid waste management. So आपने अगर वो कर लिया तो सब कर लिया. तो आपको वहां पर ही फोकस करना चाहिए और उसके बाद फिर आप जो भी इनिशिएटिव लेंगे, कम्युनिटी आपके साथ में खड़ी हुई मिलेगी. तो इंदौर में यही हुआ. हमने 2016 में ही सबसे ज्यादा फोकस किया था सेग्रीगेशन के ऊपर, और जब सेग्रीगेशन हुआ तब आपके सारे इनिशिएटिव आप जो लेना चाहते हैं, आप प्रोसेसिंग में आप इनोवेशंस कर सकते हैं क्योंकि आपके पास सेग्रीगेटेड वेस्ट है. आप इस तरह के इनिशिएटिव जिसमें सिटीजन्स को कंटेनर बिन फ्री जो आप शहर बताना चाह रहे थे, आप दिखा सकते हैं क्योंकि आपने हर घर से कचरा ले लिया तो कंटेनर्स आपको रखने की अब जरूरत नहीं है. तो वहां पर फिर वहां आपका जो न्यूसेंस होता है, जीवीपी पॉइंट बनता है, वो नहीं बनेगा. तो जिनके घर के सामने वो होते हैं वो सबसे ज्यादा खुश होते हैं, उनके प्लॉट की वैल्यू बढ़ जाती है. बहुत सारे ऐसे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं. तो सोर्स एग्रीगेशन के बाद डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन और उसके बाद फिर प्रोसेसिंग तक आपको कहीं कुछ देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. अपने आप कंपनीज आएंगी. कंपनीज इंदौर में आती हैं विथ रेवेन्यू के साथ में कि हम आपका कचरा प्रोसेस करेंगे और हम आपको रेवेन्यू भी देंगे. तो ये एक प्रॉफिटेबल बिजनेस बन जाता है. और यही मेरे सभी शहरों से हमेशा बातचीत जब भी होती है, हम लोग यही बोलते हैं. यहाँ पर आप हमारे किसी भी पॉलिटिकल लीडर से बात करेंगे तो वो भी यही बताएंगे, हमारे हायर ऑफिशियल से बात करेंगे वो भी यही बताएंगे कि सोर्स एग्रीगेशन पर अगर आप फोकस करेंगे तो आप सब कुछ कर सकते हैं. फिर प्लास्टिक बैन जैसे बड़े इनिशिएटिव लेने की बात भी होगी तो आप कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू. Unmute.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dubey. Yes, you very rightly pointed out the need of segregation at source, and that would be the crux of the solution.
So what we now would move on to Mr. Harshad Ray J. Solanki. Mr. Solanki, are you there? You joined in for a few seconds and then there was some network problem. Okay. Let me just. So I think Mr. Solanki has got dropped off. So, but I think we are on time, and I would like to thank all the panelists for joining in this extremely engaging and productive session. I do hope that all the attendees who are with us through the social media channels and the Zoom link, they have been enjoying the session since morning. And personally speaking, it was a great learning for me to know a lot of initiatives which have been taken by various municipal corporations in the western region of our country. We do hope that there would be a lot of opportunities as we move along, not only while phasing out single-use plastic, but also on ensuring that plastics is channeled to the right set of processing facilities rather going to the landfill and polluting the rivers and marine life. So with this note, I would like to thank all of you for joining in today, and we would be soon announcing a regional session for Eastern region in due course of time. With this, we end the session today. Thank you.